time for your 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick Me Up, brought to you by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in the car or at work, call George Sink now at 803-ALL-9s. Last night on the road in the other Columbia, Missouri, the South Carolina baseball team picks up the victory 5-1 over the Missouri Tigers in game number 1 of the series. Game number 2, by the way, coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. Pregame coverage at 6:45 right here in the game. Then game 3 tomorrow, pregame coverage at 2:45, also right here on 107.5 The Game. Monty Lee spoke after the game about his team's performance in picking up that victory.
Well, first and foremost, Brandon Stone was outstanding. We played great defensively behind him, made a lot of really nice plays in the infield. Tyler Bach ran down a ball that was hit pretty good in the gap. Lazama made a catch up against the wall late in the ball game, but we just pitched and defended incredibly well. So proud of Zach Russell, being able to come in and give us, as many outs as he could out of the bullpen tonight. Those two guys were great for us. And, offensively, we did just enough. They gave us a little bit, but Pat Evans, obviously was the guy for us tonight. Hit the big 2-run homer. Eric Parker, got on base for him there, and then Pat, smoked it there in his second at bat of the game. And then we had a little luck. We had some runners on base. Need to be a little bit better with runners on base, but we found a way to score 5 runs, and we pitched and we played great defensively, and super pleased with the win tonight.
Big shout out to Brandon Stone, who's done everything that's been asked of him, in not just this year, but in his time at South Carolina so far, whether it be starting, coming out of the bullpen, closing. He's done pretty much everything, and he's done it really well at times. And last night was an example of that. Again, he came in long relief last week when Josh Gunther was struggling in the early innings against Texas and gave you 7 innings in that game, and goes out there and pitches 6 full innings last night, giving up 2 hits and only 1 earned run with 7 strikeouts. So did his job. Alex Valentin and Zach Russell came in and closed things out. Valentin did get himself into a little bit of trouble there in the bottom of the 7th inning, allowing 2 guys on. Russell comes in, is able to get the final out there and keep only the 1 run on the board for Missouri, which was hit by our guy, Jace Woytup, earlier on in that game. Or, excuse me, that was, later on in that game when they plated that 1 run. So you're able to limit the damage there. And as Monty Lee talked about, you took advantage of what Missouri gave you, because Carolina didn't tear the cover off the ball last night. They had 5 hits to match their 5 runs, but there in the top of the 6th inning, you had some fielding errors by Missouri where LeCroy hit the shallow pop-up that there was the miscommunication between the pitcher and the catcher. The ball ends up dropping to the ground. And then later in the inning, Juhas hits what looked like was going to be a routine fly ball that was dropped by the left fielder, which, by the way, as somebody that played outfield for a lot of my baseball career, I can sympathize. I dropped a few very stupidly easy pop-ups in my career as well. It gets lost in the lights, whatever it may be. It happens. I feel for the guy. Fortunately, South Carolina was able to benefit off that, and that plated their 4th run of the game. And then, as he mentioned there, Patrick Evans with a 2-run homer early in the game to give them the early lead. So South Carolina went out there. They did their job, picked up a win, and can feel good about that for what that was. Obviously, you've got the rest of the series as the weekend rolls along to maybe finally get your first SEC series win of the season, which, again, in the grand scheme of things, what does it matter? Not a whole lot, but it would be something, and something that, again, you have not accomplished so far this year. But in winning that game last night, it's the 3rd win of the season, and that means, with my new objective for Gamecock baseball, well, that means we're moving on up.
Well, we're moving on up, to the side.
So as I stated yesterday, for South Carolina baseball, they're not really playing for a whole lot. No postseason. They're not going to be in the 64-team NCAA tournament. But my objective for them was to be better than they were a year ago, because last year was historically awful. At 6-24 in SEC play, you still, now with 17 games left to go in conference play after last night, have the ability to beat that mark. Because here's the thing. Everybody remembers the worst team. Everybody will point to 2025 and say that was the worst team, at least in the SEC era, for South Carolina baseball. Rarely do you remember the next to worst team. At least historically speaking, those teams kind of get lost in the shuffle. So my goal and my objective is for this team to at least get to 7 wins. So you can say, well, at least you weren't the worst. So yes, indeed, we're moving on up when it comes to that. So good to see that last night. Again, the rest of the series today with game number 2 and then game number 3 coming up tomorrow. As, again, are they playing for a whole lot? Not really, but at least putting that goal out there, I do think that's something that they can accomplish. And as I laid out yesterday, if you go through the remaining series and don't get swept in any of them, that means winning 1 game in each, which you've already accomplished with Missouri last night, you'll get yourself to 8 wins, which, hey, that's gravy, right? I'm shooting for 7. If you can get to 7, I'll be happy. Because, again, we're not talking about historically worst team. If you can get to 8 or 9, that is icing on top of the cake, and we'll take that. Again, not the conversation we wanted to have about this baseball team, but it's where we're at, and it's a obtainable goal, right? Well, you adjust expectations as the season goes along, and when it became clear, because here's the thing, like last week when they picked up the win against Texas in game number 1, there was still like a small sliver of like, well, hey, especially if you can do that against the number 2 team in the country, if they could find a way to win that series, maybe, just maybe, there could have been a way. It would have been a long shot, but maybe there was still a little bit of hope. They could have turned things around and made things interesting. But when you lose the final 2 games of the series and then couple that, not that it matters for the conference standings, that you couple that with the loss to College of Charleston the other night, that took whatever little remaining air, and there wasn't a lot of it, but whatever little remaining air was still there for belief that you could maybe make something out of this season. That was gone. So, again, I have readjusted my expectations, and I encourage you to do so as well. Because when you look at things from like a glass half full perspective of, well, if you're only trying to get to 7 wins, you're almost halfway there. As I just played the Jefferson's theme song of moving on up. You're moving on up in the right direction when you're trying to accomplish that goal. So that's where I put it for now. So with that metric, you can be happy about what happened last night. If you're feeling the same way about me, that I do about it in terms of a obtainable goal that this team is attempting to accomplish to make me at least satisfied somewhat with what this season does ultimately end up becoming. So, again, game number 2 tonight, game number 3 tomorrow, and, hey, maybe they can get a series win and we can celebrate that for what it is. In the vacuum of one series, if they can get a series win, be the first one this year in conference play, we can at least feel good about that come Monday morning and talk about with Jack and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. Again, not Josh Gunther. Amp Phillips going for game 2 tonight. Game 3 for tomorrow still has a TBA tag on it. I would think that's probably still Josh Gunther. He only threw 3 pitches the other night against College of Charleston, so he's more than ready. Now, again, his last outing against Texas did not go well, so maybe they think of somebody else in that role, but I would assume it's probably going to be Josh Gunther, but we'll see what happens with that coming up tomorrow. Again, it's a big weekend for basketball as the season has come to an end with crowning the national champions this past Sunday and Monday, but the portal is alive and well, and there's some visitors coming in this weekend and some interesting names to know for both the men and the women when it comes to the portal. We'll also let you listen to what Lamont Paris and Dawn Staley had to say about what they're looking for in the transfer portal as well. It is the Extra Point. I'll head along with you on your Friday here on The Game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out our sweet deals, like $50 worth of great eats from Grill Marks for just $25 and a 6-month membership to the YMCA for half price. It's all at 1075thegame.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Are you a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system? Well, AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you then. AAA now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling AAA Heating and Air for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jack from 107.5 The Game sent you. At AAA Heating and Air, they've got your back. They're offering up to 12-month payment plans on repairs with no credit check required. That's right. No need to worry about your credit score in this case. As long as you're a homeowner with a valid bank account, you'll be good to go. So take control of your comfort today by giving a call to AAA Heating and Air at 803-677-1500. Again, the number to call AAA is 803-677-1500. Give them a call today and breathe easy again.
Hey, this is Robbie Butt with Marketing Performance. So many of our clients partner with Cumulus Digital, and it has really helped them reach their right audience and grow their businesses. The Cumulus Digital strategy is real and measurable. And in an age of metrics, when everybody wants to know every little small detail, Cumulus always delivers on that for us.
See how it can work for you at the Digital Seminar. Your business, your customers, your growth. April 30th at the Hilton Garden Inn on Pickens Street. RSVP now. Call pound 250, keyword Digital Impact. Sponsored by Woodman Life, protecting hardworking families with life insurance.
Woodman Life believes every hardworking American deserves to leave a legacy. Life insurance helps protect what matters today, so your values, love, and security can keep growing long after you're gone. Get your quote at woodmanlife.org. Woodman Life is the brand name for Women of the World Life Insurance Society in Omaha, Nebraska. Ad number A0135.
Join the Lexington Health Foundation on Friday, May 1st at the Columbia Metropolitan Convention Center for the McDaniels Gala. Dress your black tie best and enjoy delicious food, open bars with signature cocktails, specialty tasting rooms, exciting auctions, fun photos, and more. Proceeds benefit the McDaniels Pucci Cancer Fund to support patients and families at Lexington Health Cancer Center from diagnosis to survivorship. Purchase your tickets today at lexhealth.com/McDaniels Gala.
Hey guys, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central here to make sure your business and property parking lots are kept available from any unwanted cars taking up your spots with Schroeder's Towing. For instance, you're coming in hot to the game studios for your show and you park next door in an unauthorized lot with signage that was provided for free from Schroeder's Towing. Next thing you know, the show is in the books and your car is out of the lot. It really is that simple. That's a true story. Call Schroeder's today and keep those unwanted cars out of your lots. Online at schroederstowing.net.
Just dial pound 250 and use the keyword tow truck.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Attention music fans, the 3rd annual Meeting Street Music Fest is happening April 17th and 18th in West Columbia. This award-winning 2-day festival features 11 incredible bands, including national headliner Sugar Ray, plus amazing food, drinks, and fun, and it's completely free. Join us Friday from 6 to 8 at the West Columbia Amphitheater and Saturday from 3 to 9 along Meeting Street. Make it a weekend getaway and experience one of the Southeast's fastest-growing music festivals. Learn more at meetingstreetmusicfest.com. That's meetingstreetmusicfest.com.
There's a new kind of welcome waiting for you at the Haven Harley-Davidson. And right now is the perfect time to ride. You can ride home on a new 2025 Street Glide Ultra with 0 down and 2.99% APR for 36 months. Plus up to $2,000 in customer cash on select models. If you're looking for a place that rides with you, supports you, and knows what your Harley means to you, the Haven Harley-Davidson would be honored to be a part of your journey. Discover more at thehavenharley.com.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good!
With Tyler Head and Jack Beltry from Gamecock Central. On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
So we look forward to continuing to fine-tune that process as well and determining, who really wants to be a Gamecock and who fits the DNA of what we are looking for in a player, and then the competitive spirit to play and to thrive at this level is probably the biggest factor of all of it.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Friday on the Game. That, of course, the voice of Lamont Paris. That was right at a month ago, or a month ago tomorrow, I believe, when they were at the SEC tournament in Nashville, talking about looking forward to the upcoming offseason, what they're going to be doing as far as the portal and all that kind of stuff, and the kind of qualities they're looking for in guys to come in out of the transfer portal. And as we now know, with so many guys either running out of eligibility or entering the transfer portal from this past year's team, there are a lot of spots to fill. Quite frankly, it's almost the entire roster, save for a few guys like Grant Polk and Hayden Simeon that are coming back. Of course, we talked about yesterday, Cam Scott entering his name to the transfer portal as the latest addition of that group, along with Kreese Desondico earlier on this week as well. So you got a lot of spots to fill, and you're looking anywhere and everywhere that you can, trying to bring in talent that's going to help you compete in the SEC and hopefully make the tournament. Because, again, it kind of seems like it's a make-or-break year for Lamont Paris in that regard. If you can make it into the field, you might be safe to continue on. If you don't, then, well, we might be looking for a new head basketball coach, this time next year. But Lamont Paris also explained when he was in Nashville that it's more than just NIL when it comes to what they're trying to look for and who they're trying to bring in.
Well, again, I think all of this isn't about just NIL. I think there are a lot of components to putting a team together. How do pieces fit together? What does a player play? The fashion and style of ball that you would like roles are important. There are a lot of things as we put our team together that we value. If you look at 2 years ago, I think those things came together incredibly well. You had role definition happened upon its own. I think the synergy that group had, and the want to play with one another, the want to win. So those things still are probably the main factors in determining what winning looks like. Again, I don't know at the top what that looks like, but there are limitations. If you don't have what it takes to get into the game, there certainly are limitations, but you still have to make sound decisions in terms of the DNA of what you want your team to look like, the overall roster construction, and how pieces fit together. I still think that is an incredibly important part of roster construction.
And one big part of roster construction is not bringing in a bunch of me guys, bringing in guys that are, there for the team, but they're teammates, good leaders, and all that kind of stuff. And, guys that are looking out for the betterment of the team more than just themselves specifically. And one name that we know is coming in and visiting starting today is the guard from George Mason, Corey Mincy, somebody we've talked about on and off as the week has gone along, somebody that's put up very good numbers in his time out there with George Mason. He's rated as a 4-star in the portal, the 17th best guard available in the portal. Again, a guy that can do a variety of things on offense, that can score, has had good assist numbers at times, doesn't turn the ball over a ton. So somebody that I think excites a lot of people on his prospect of coming in. But in doing more research on Corey Mincy, I came across this article from WJLA.com where they referenced him as their athlete of the week going back to January, and they shared the story of him growing up. I believe it was just him and his dad, and him having to work some jobs on the side in addition to going to school and playing basketball and all this kind of stuff. And he talked about helping his family and doing what he needed to do to make sure that they had what they needed. And I don't know if Corey Mincy's going to come here or not, but that kind of stuck out to me as hey, that's the kind of guy that you'd probably like to have on your team, that you would think would be very much a team guy, looking out for everybody else, trying to help the team be better, not just looking out for his own self-interest. And we'll see what happens as the weekend goes along in reference to if he's going to end up being a Gamecock or not, because these things happen so fast. We always talk about the transfer portal being this speed dating process, right? And especially once you get somebody on campus. If you get somebody on campus, you got a real good shot at them, right? And sometimes, the guy's here for a day or two on a visit, and by the end of the weekend, he's committed. I don't know if that's going to happen with Corey Mincy or not, but, we'll certainly keep our eye on it. Certainly keep your eyes on, sites like Gamecock Central over the weekend, as they'll keep you updated on everything going on with him and his visit. He's listed as like a point guard in the transfer portal. Plays a little bit more of the two guard. When he was at George Mason, Ken Palm has a good breakdown of where guys typically play, and more about 80% of the time he's at that two guard role compared to the true point guard role. Although he can run the point if he needs to. And again, we'll see what else Lamont Paris can get in the portal if you do land a Corey Mincy, where maybe you don't have to have him as that as the main point guard. He can play that two spot, focus on shooting a little bit more and all that kind of stuff. We'll see. Obviously, we don't know if it's going to come here or not, but that's the name that we do know is coming on campus this upcoming weekend, starting today. Another name that has started to gain a little bit more smoke, and they're working, it seems, on getting him on campus is Samet Yigitolu, the center from SMU, 7'2" center, by the way. Read is the 35th overall prospect in the portal, the 7th overall center. Guy averaged a little over 10 points, had just under 8 rebounds a game last year, a little over a block per game as well. Somebody that was one of the better ones in the ACC in a lot of metrics like offensive rebounding, finished top 10 in total rebounding, blocks per game, field goal percentage, double-doubles, and all that. And these are the kind of guys that you want, right? Guys that are in the mix towards the top of their conference in respective categories, certainly from a size standpoint. And by the way, his nickname is the Turkish Tower, as we discovered yesterday, Wes and I did, which is really cool, because saying Yigitolu might be troublesome for some people, like Sharvajamps was this past year. So when you have a nickname like Mongolian Mike or the Turkish Tower, that certainly makes things a little bit easier. But I look at, one, the measurables, being 7'2", and seemingly the physicality that he plays with, it kind of matches what you would want out of a center that you didn't really have this past year. You didn't have that physical presence near the basket that you needed, that you had in years past, that's allowed you to be a little bit more successful. So, again, I don't know if he's going to come here or not. We'll see if they can get him on campus for a visit here coming up soon, but he's certainly in the mold of somebody that you would like to have on your team if you're able to land him. But, of course, it's not just the men's portal that is open. The women's portal is open as well. And Dawn Staley on Sunday, following their loss in the national championship, discussed what her team's going to be looking for in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got to add some guard plays, definitely some lead guard play, and just some more athleticism in the guard department. So I think our front line is pretty good, especially the ones that are coming back from injury and coming back into our team. So we got to add some guard play.
So, of course, you're losing Raven Johnson, so that front guard play is something that's going to be very vital to rebuild. Now, you do have Maddie McDaniel, who we've seen play an important role when it comes to being that secondary main point guard throughout the year, and she took on some really serious minutes, certainly as the season went along. You got Tessa and Jersey Robinson, who's coming in as a freshman. They're more in that two-guard role, but having another primary point guard to be there assisting with Maddie McDaniel certainly wouldn't hurt. And the name that a lot of people are paying attention to is Kamora Johnson from Virginia, who's entered her name into the portal, of course, after they let go of their coach the other day. And she would very much fit in that mold of a Raven Johnson-esque type of player. She's been around college basketball for multiple years. Really good numbers, averaging just under 20 points per game, shooting right above 36% from three. She can score at all three levels. She's 5'7", so a little bit on the smaller side, plays with the toughness and all those qualities that you would love to have in a point guard. She's experienced when it comes to the NCAA tournament. As Virginia made it all the way to the Sweet 16, she scored 28 in back-to-back games in the second round, in the first and second round, between Georgia and Iowa. So very experienced, a good scorer, somebody that can run the point on offense. That, again, I don't know if she's going to come here or not, but certainly much like going out and grabbing Tanai Latson last year, who's the leading scorer in the nation, coming over from SNU, would not surprise anybody in the slightest if Carolina is able to land her. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the weekend as well. But exciting as we kind of learn and see what the pieces are going to be for the men's and women's basketball teams coming up next season. And, of course, go over to GamecockCentral.com and stay locked in on them all weekend as they keep you updated on what's happening with the respective visits for those prospects. Of course, the Masters rolling just over an hour away at Augusta National. Very, very exciting first round. A lot of headlines coming away from day number one. We'll talk about all of it coming up next with our guy Scott Hamilton as the Extra Point rolls along. Tyler Head along with you on your Friday on the Game.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so blood cancer patients can reach theirs. Change your life by joining a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients.
I am committed. I am TNT.
After 600,000 participants and almost $1 billion raised for treatments, TNT has helped the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society make a significant impact in the advancement of blood cancer therapies that save lives every day.
I am making a difference. I am TNT.
Join TNT. Expand your circle of friends to be part of a very special community. Train with world-class trainers and have the chance to be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex. Join TNT and fundraise while you train and take part in getting us all closer to a world without blood cancers.
Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hi there, this is Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors. So look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Where your trash is our business.
The future stars of the PGA Tour are coming to Columbia. The Colonial Life Charity Classic is bringing championship golf to the Wood Creek Club May 14th through 17th. Be there to experience the intensity up close as tomorrow's champions battle it out on every hole. Bring the family and take in the tournament atmosphere, excitement, and a full week of entertainment built for all ages. Don't miss your chance to witness the journey to the top. The Colonial Life Charity Classic. Get your tickets now.
If you're tired of dealing with gas, noise, and costly maintenance, it's probably time to switch to Steel battery power. Right now at Cato's Power Equipment, we have 65 Steel battery tools like the GTA 40 hand pruner, the BGA 60 blower, and the KMA 135 Combi power head. Each available with 2 free batteries for a limited time, giving you more runtime, less hassle, and up to $640 in instant savings. This deal is only available at Cato's Power Equipment, Columbia's home for the tools you need to maintain your turf. Visit catospowerequipment.com.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet. makes you wanna smile, smile.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good!
With Tyler Head and Jack Feltry from Gamecock Central on the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Friday here on the Game. Things getting rolling once again for round 2 out there at Augusta Nationals for the Masters as we bring in our guy Scott Hamilton, who may be the biggest golf dork that I know is excited about everything going on just about an hour down the road from us. Scott, how we doing? Happy Masters weekend to you.
Golf dork. I'm a golf dork.
Well, it's a term of endearment. I mean that in a positive way.
I love it, man. I mean, I love the game, and I love watching the game. I covered the game for a long time. And
I know.
The Masters, and I will say this, Tyler Head, the Masters is my second favorite sporting event behind only the Ryder Cup. After that, number 3 is college football, any college football weekend.
Okay. Now, why would you put the Ryder Cup over the Masters?
I like international competition.
Okay.
And the format, the way it works out with just match play, the way the teams are, the environment is different. It's almost like college football and golf if they were to like marry.
Okay.
Last year they went across. They crossed the line up on Long Island at Bethpage. The Americans did, but it's really. I've been to 4 Ryder Cups, dude, and they've all delivered. And the Europeans, and I will say this: I love America. God bless America. Happy to be an American. Thank you, Lord. Make me an American. But I find it hard to root against the Europeans in the Ryder Cup, dude. I love those guys.
Yeah, and the last year's it was certainly entertaining, to say the least, with everything that went down there. But as we lock in on the Masters here, a very entertaining first round. One thing that stands out to me is, again, there's a lot of golf to be played left in the weekend, but some very heavy hitters up at the front after one round in the books. Of course, Rory McIlroy trying to go back-to-back. Tied for first with Sam Burns after the first round. You also have Patrick Reed. You have Scotty Scheffler, Justin Rose, Andrew Schauffele. All these guys inside the top 10, all among the favorites to go in there and win this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that. Here's the thing. I look at Rory, and I think what we're seeing is maybe greatness finally unburdened.
Mm-hmm.
That was a column I wrote last year because we had watched Rory from the moment he first came to play in America for the next 16 years or so, play with these unbelievable expectations. And he lived up to those expectations pretty quickly out of the gate. And then the massive blow up at Augusta in 2011. Won a couple after that, but Augusta was the one that kept getting away. And we were like, man, you know, is he going to do it? The expectation for Rory was always, is he going to win a career Grand Slam? And he's got to win the Masters to do it. And I can't imagine what it was like having that burden as a competitor and to have only one shot a year to pull it off and to have it escape you each and every time, year after year after year. Plus, now don't forget this, Tyler. Plus, he was also a human shield of sorts for the PGA Tour during the whole Civil War with Liv.
Right.
So he's got that going on. He's got personal stuff going on. And to see him pull that off last year, I left Augusta with 2 thoughts. Does he have the wherewithal and the energy to keep chasing greatness? Or has his bucket been emptied? Have we seen him peak? And watching him yesterday, I'm thinking, that guy's still got a lot left in the tank.
Well, and I played the quote yesterday when he was meeting with the media earlier on this week, you know, ahead of the Champions Dinner and all that kind of stuff, where he was saying, you know, in years past, I couldn't wait for the tournament to start. I couldn't wait to get out there and get on the course. And he's like, now I don't care if it ever starts. You know what I mean? Like, there is like this relaxedness about him that I think to competitors might make him even more dangerous, because he's a guy that isn't chasing the carrot anymore. He's accomplished everything that he's wanted to accomplish in the golf game. Now we just go out there and be loose and have fun, seemingly. And again, you're still locked in. You're still intense. You're still as focused as you ever are. But, like, that burden's not on your back. And, again, through one round at least, he has gone out there and backed up what he did a year ago.
Well, and Tom Watson, the great Tom Watson, said he might never lose there again. And I don't know if he was half joking or not, because it's a legit question. Here's the thing, and it goes back to what I was saying about unburdened greatness. We never got to see that with Tiger.
Right.
Tiger, from the moment he came out of the womb, his goal, his singular purpose, it seemed like, on this planet was to win the most majors, to break Jack's record, to get 19 majors, and be able to say unequivocally, I am the greatest golfer of all time. Tiger didn't do that. Rory, we didn't have such a high ceiling for him. We had career Grand Slam, which is a high ceiling, make no mistake about it.
Sure.
But that was the peak for Rory. And now that he's achieved it, we, for the first time, get to see what untethered greatness can look like if, and it goes back to my earlier question, if he has the wherewithal and he has the juice left to actually want to see how much more he can extract out of his career.
Speaking of other top golfers, of course, still number one in the world is Scottie Scheffler. And one of the storylines coming into the week was the fact that his wife has their second child a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, really. So that's something that's finally off his mind. Again, he's going in after a strong first round. And anytime Scottie Scheffler walks on the golf course, he is always a threat to win. Is there more of like, okay, he's also relaxed, not got as many things on his mind, too? He can lock in and focus now that, again, the child's been born and all that kind of stuff is not maybe weighing on him quite as much?
I don't think it's a factor. You got to remember, the dude got arrested, came out of the Jefferson County Detention Center and shot a 67.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's a factor with him. But I'll also be candid when I say this. I have no clue what goes on inside that guy's head. I have no clue. He is the most stone-faced, uncharismatic. I like him. I think as a human being, I think he's a fine individual. I admire the heck out of his game. I think what he's done over the last few years is on par with peak Tiger when Tiger Palooza was a thing. But I really don't want him in contention this week because it's just so uninspiring.
Yeah.
It's robot golf, color by numbers. Par, win.
Well, one person that is always entertaining and always interesting is Bryson DeChambeau, bringing a 5-iron. He apparently made on a 3D printer to the Masters this time around. Gets off to a rough start yesterday. Triple bogeys on 11. Finds himself right now projected or below the projected cut line at tied for 53 at 4 over. Still a lot of time to redeem himself for this round today, but he's got his work cut out for him.
He is Phil Mickelson of the 2026. He's always got to have some kind of angle, something to make him different. I remember when Phil showed up with 2 drivers. Phil showing up with like he had a 64-degree wedge. I want to say he had like a 70-degree wedge at one point just to try it out. It was like a spatula. The sunglasses. Phil tried to make the glasses a thing. Remember that? Then he went on to the diet. He's always got some kind of trend. The button-up shirts. That might be the worst. Phil. And DeChambeau's the same thing. He constantly acts like he has to prove that he's the most intelligent, innovative guy in the field. And the fact that he would go out and make a 5-iron, Tyler, printed on a 3, and I read the process for it. It takes about a day and a half, which it might or might not conform to USGA standards, by the way. There's still some ambiguity. Question.
Ambiguity? Is that what you're trying to say?
Ambiguity. It's easier when I type it because it just pops up.
Right.
But why would he go through that rigmarole? This is a guy who's had success on that course. Why would you mess with something that has worked in the past by actually making your own club unless it's just to say, oh, I got to do something this week to show I'm the smartest?
So would they not check that before he played with it? Like, how does that work?
I would presume they would. I would guess they would. There used to be something called the, I can't remember the name of it, something report, where they would go and check each club in a bag.
Okay.
And that's how we knew which company had the most drivers on tour, which company had the most wedges on tour. How do you label a homemade 5-iron? And what are the particular specs for it? Did they have time to look at it? Because you got to look at the shaft, you got to look at the grip, you got to look at the material it's made out of, you got to measure the grooves, make sure they conform to a certain standard. I'm wondering if they truly did their due diligence on this club, or if they said, you know what, you go play with it. We'll look at it after the fact. And guess what, big boy? If it ain't right, you're going to be getting a big disqualification no matter how well you do.
Well, he's got some work to do to get himself back in the running and try and avoid the cut line as we go into round number 2. Focus on some of the other storylines going both on and off the course coming up next as we continue on with the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Scott Hamilton hanging out with you on your Friday here on The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Since that win at Clemson by the Gamecocks, things haven't gone well. And when things don't go well, it's time to look back on the days when things were well. Yeah, let's spin back to the good old days on the Game Network.
The Gamecocks are making history in Cleveland. They'll be the 10th team, the 5th program to go undefeated and win the national championship. They will avenge their loss to Iowa from last year. The clock ticks down. 2 seconds to play. Celebration in Cleveland. Perfection wears garnet and black. Game over.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
Now that's some good feels right there. From 107.5 The Game and The Game Network.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
A massive blow to the Sixers' playoff hopes. Philadelphia star Joel Embiid is undergoing emergency surgery in Houston today after a sudden diagnosis of appendicitis. Former MVP reported feeling ill early yesterday morning and was rushed into scans just hours before tip-off against the Rockets. Only 3 games left in the regular season. The Sixers are in the play-in, and it doesn't look good. I'm Drake Toll.
This is the highlight of my morning. Hey, what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
You've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Pollen season is here, so don't let your automobile turn into a pollen-mobile. Swing by Tidal Wave Auto Spa and wash it away with a top-of-the-line wash. Plus, enjoy free vacuums, microfiber towels, and interior cleaning spray with every visit. With our GraphX 4 Shine technology, your car leaves cleaner and shinier in minutes. It's fast, easy, and leaves you with that clean car happy feeling every time. Get back on the road and shining bright. Find a location near you at TidalWaveAutospa.com.
Thinking about starting weight loss treatment? GoodRx is here to help. We offer FDA-approved GLP-1 medications prescribed by licensed providers, including the Wegovy tablet, with straightforward pricing and pickup at your local pharmacy or delivery to your door. All from America's #1 prescription app. Go to GoodRx.com/weight loss to get started. GoodRx is not insurance. Cancel anytime. #1 prescription app ranked by a third-party study.
This is the highlight of my morning. Hey, what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
You've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803. Don't wait. Call now. 800-506-5803. 800-506-5803.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good.
with Tyler Head and Jack Beltry from Gamecock Central. On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Friday here on the Game. Our guy Scott Hamilton hanging out, talking all things Masters as we've got one round in the book and round two getting underway out there at Augusta National. We were discussing this in the break, and now the second round is underway, so this leaderboard is moving a little bit. But at least for yesterday, the ageless Fred Couples, who always seems to put together a strong first round, well, he could lay claim to at least beating all the live golfers for day number one. We'll see if that holds true through round two, but Liv not getting off to a good start, and old Freddie at least coming out of the gate with somewhat of a strong showing.
He's had enough experience. I want to say it's his 41st round at Augusta in competition, and he not only knows where to hit, but he also knows the most important thing, where you can miss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that a lot of guys don't realize, this knowing where to miss. And Freddie goes out, he can hit those shots. But as you and I were talking during the break, it's a grind. That course is a grind. It's exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting as a patron trying to get around that place. But as a player, it is 10 times as exhausting. And that's when the age catches up and starts to become a factor. And as we look back, I mean, it makes what Jack did 40 years ago even more incredible. I mean, I'm older than Jack was then, full disclosure. But for him to win a Masters at age 46, I still marvel at it. I do. And I'm wondering now, I mean, Tiger, what was Tiger? Tiger wasn't anywhere near 46, I don't believe. He went at 2019. He's, what, 51 now?
He'd been in his early 40s then.
Big difference, too.
Yeah, big difference.
Fitness, training, and all that.
And again, he had his various injuries, so I'm sure that didn't help. But yeah, the big difference in age there.
But that was before the car wreck. Now, keep that in mind. So, yeah, he had some injuries, but the major injury had been 2008.
Right.
When he won the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines on one leg in a playoff.
Speaking of Tiger, because this year is significant. Of course, we know what he went through just over a week ago with his, situation there down in Florida. But also Phil Mickelson not there this weekend either. And this is the first time since 1994 neither Tiger nor Phil are at the Masters, either playing or just being there in some capacity. And, as much as, they're not at the top of the golf game anymore, they are still two of the most recognizable names in golf for most people, whether you're a sports fan or not. To you, what's the significance of those guys not being there this weekend?
I think it's a non-issue. I really do, because you have to remember for years, Tiger comes out, he still moves the needle. In a lot of regards, he is still the needle.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't make it to the weekend. When he came back and played, 2022, and I think he shot a 75 in the first round. It escapes me. It was the greatest 75 in the history of golf, considering everything he's returning from.
Yeah.
But he was never going to make the weekend. He was never going to be in contention. And Phil, I say the same thing. Phil captured lightning in a bottle in 2021, won the PGA down at Kiowa. But for him to be on the grounds, for Tiger to be on the grounds, is no different than Fred Couples to be on the grounds. It's no different than Jack being on the grounds and Gary Player and those guys. It's all ceremonial. It's a link to the past. But as far as actual competition, no, it's totally immaterial. I hate it for some of the people who would like to just see them.
Mm-hmm.
They paid a lot of money to get in there, but they don't come to see Tiger and Phil. You come to see the course. This is the one event where you can actually say, I came to see the course, and everything else unfolded.
And golf is such a unique sport compared to football, baseball, basketball, where by the time these guys are, hitting their late 30s to early 40s, they're getting set to retire. And, yeah, we got guys that will transition to TV roles or, coaching roles, stuff like that, where they're still around, but they're not on the field competing anymore. Golf, again, you can play into your 60s or 70s if you want, as long as your body is holding up, where you never truly go away. But we always talk about golf needing to find that next, superstar, big name face that's going to carry it for the next couple decades, and not having Tiger and Phil there, I think, can be an important step into allowing some of these other guys to garner some spotlights that those guys may have taken.
Well, and that was, listen, golf has struggled forever to find that next generation, and they were lucky that they had a chain of Hogan to Palmer to Nicklaus to Norman to Tiger. But even when Tiger was on the scene, there was always a desire to find the pepper to his salt, the omega to his alpha. And they tried to force it on so many people. It was supposed to be Sergio. They kept trying to, it was supposed to be David Duval. These guys couldn't keep up. And when Tiger vanished, for lack of a better word, when the Thanksgiving incident and all that back in 2009, the game actually built a better foundation without him, because it did have such a good group of guys that weren't being overshadowed by this one singular force. He loomed over the sport, man, like the Death Star.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else was secondary compared to Tiger Woods. But without him during that period, after he hit the tree and Ellen busted his teeth and all that or whatever, we got to see the emergence of a Bubba Watson. We got to see the emergence of a Dustin Johnson. And, oh, by the way, the good fortune for Rory McIlroy to come through.
Yeah, definitely so. Last minute here before we let you go, who is your pick for this weekend?
I picked Brooks Koepka.
Okay.
And I'm sticking by that as of 9:53 a.m. on Friday. Koepka's even. I think anybody within 5 shots, maybe 6, after Thursday has a shot at it because of the course. The course is only going to get faster. It's only going to be more firm, which is what they wanted when Alistair McKenzie and Bob Jones designed it. And Koepka has that extra gear in the majors. I've liked his game over the last few weeks. I think it's Brooks Koepka, but anything can happen, dude. It's the Masters.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting that typically those that are tied for the lead coming out of the first round typically aren't the ones winning it. So, yes, it looks good on paper for Rory McIlroy to be leading after one round to back up his tied from a year ago, but historically speaking, that doesn't always mean you're going to win the thing.
No, but it does help to be inside the top 10.
It does.
After the first day. And Koepka is right on the cusp. He's in the top 17, even 5 shots back.
Going to be a fun one. Enjoy it, and I'm sure we'll have you on here soon to get all your thoughts on whatever happens at Augusta National this weekend.
You're the man, Tyler.
Scott Hamilton there joining us here on the Extra Point in hour number 1. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll let you hear what Coach Beamer had to say on the Paul Feinbaum show, as well as the old ball coaches' thoughts on the SEC championship game maybe going away. We'll discuss that coming up next here on The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Tyrant here for our friends over at Twin Peaks. As I just talked about, there is a huge golf tournament going on, about an hour down the road, but if you can't make it there, if you don't have one of those lovely badges to get yourself into the course, well, the next best place to go is, of course, Twin Peaks. They've got TVs quite literally everywhere. We were just there a couple weeks ago for the basketball tournament. You will not miss a single second of the action over there at Twin Peaks. You take in all the great golf action this weekend. Go over there, grab a bar stool, order yourself some delicious scratch-made food, and, of course, a 29-degree draft beer, and watch the best golfers in the world compete for a green jacket while you're sitting, relaxing, and hanging out over at the lounge. Twin Peaks, Columbia, eats, drinks, and, of course, scenic views.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the 3rd generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company that you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local, independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or pestfreesc.com.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Come on. Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Yo, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire Automotive.
Dad, why do the other tire places in town not like us?
They are just jelly about our lit prices.
Like the top 17-inch size for your Mommobile, $500 for a set of 4 out the door.
Or the top 20-inch truck size for $720 total, no cap.
You can even buy tires online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Why is my line just 6'7"?
6'7".
I don't get it.
PopeDavisTire.com.
Hi there, this is Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors, so look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Where your trash is our business.
Hey, that was our exit. We're going to miss the first pitch.
Just got to make a stop at Kroger. I promised I'd bring nachos.
Nice. You have the Upside app too, right?
Upside? What's that?
Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy groceries. And they just added Kroger stores in Columbia.
Wait, I can get money back just for buying groceries?
Yep. And right now, you can get an extra $10 bonus on your first Kroger trip with the app. That's up to $25 cash back on one grocery run.
Even this Kroger store right here?
Yes. Now pull over. Let's get some cash back on those nachos.
Upside is now available for Kroger stores in the Columbia area. Download the free Upside app and use promo code FAM3 to get a $10 bonus on your first purchase at Kroger. That's promo code FAM3. Remember, use promo code FAM3.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Oh, yeah?
The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Friday on the Game. Keep you updated on the Masters all morning and afternoon long as things roll on out there at Augusta National. Again, appreciate Scott Hamilton for hopping in there and joining me for a couple of segments. We're also wrapping up spring football this week. Of course, no spring games. We've talked about a lot. So no destination for fans to go out there and see, of course, the final product of spring with a game being played over at Williams-Brice Stadium. But tomorrow is the Garnet and Black Spring Fest, which should be fun. I'll be out there. Hopefully can see a lot of you out there. The block party and ultimately the concert tomorrow night over there at the Colonial Life Arena. As we sit right now, 148 days away from the Kent State game to open up what's going to be a very huge and vital season for Coach Beamer and South Carolina. And not only is it big for South Carolina, it's also big for the SEC, as we've talked about this week, to try and wrestle the power back from the Big Ten, who has won the past 3 national championships, and the SEC has not even played in those national championship games the prior 3 years. As I stated earlier on this week, in light of Brett McMurphy's article and when he joined Scott Hamilton earlier on this week to discuss the gap that's growing between the SEC and the Big Ten, I pumped the brakes on that a little bit. I didn't think there was a high level of concern until the SEC gets to the point where we're worrying about them even making postseason tournaments as a conference. Then I think we're okay. Again, they've had a team in the semifinals of the college football playoff every single year in the 3 years that they have not been able to get to the national championship. They have all been close to getting there, so I don't think it's time to panic, at least not just yet. But this is going to be a new year for the SEC as they transition to a 9-game conference schedule, and they, like two of the other Power 4 conferences in the ACC and the Big 12, still have a requirement to play a Power 4 opponent outside of the SEC. And Carolina has that built in with Clemson, so I don't know how many interesting non-conference matchups we're going to get going forward for the years to come outside of Clemson, which is, again, why you play Kent State and Towson to start your season. But after that, it's an onslaught of 10 straight weeks of playing nothing but Power 4 competition, 9 in the SEC, and then Clemson at the end to wrap up the regular season. So it's not going to be easy for teams like South Carolina. We'll get to their schedule coming up in a moment, but no team in the SEC is going to have an easy path. But while the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 have this requirement, the Big 10 doesn't. And that has caused quite a stir when you ask SEC coaches how they feel about this 9-game conference schedule and the fact that, well, the Big 10 doesn't have to adhere to those same rules when it comes to playing teams out of conference. In fact, Coach Beamer was on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier on this week. That's exactly a point that he was asked about in reference to the SEC and their transition to a 9-game schedule.
The biggest thing for us is just making sure, when I say us, the SEC, that playoff committee going forward is valuing strength of schedule too in regards to who has an opportunity to get in the playoff. And if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 straight national champions that haven't played a Power 4 team non-conference. And if I'm wrong about that, I apologize, but
you're not.
I think I'm accurate in saying that. So again, Indiana won it. They were a hell of a team last season, and we got great teams in this league too. And we need to make sure that we continue to worry about ourselves and what we need to do as a conference to put our best teams forward to give us the most number of teams to have an opportunity to get in the playoff. And 10-2, you're in. 9-3, you're out. And we had a 10-2 team in this league last year that didn't get in, which is tough to see.
That 10-2 team being Vanderbilt, who Wes and I talked about a little bit yesterday, that, again, we kind of thought that was going to be the bar. Like, hey, if you win 10 games in the SEC, no matter what your schedule is, you're going to get in the college football playoff. Didn't obviously end up happening for Vanderbilt a season ago, and he's right. It is going to be interesting to see how the committee views this, right? Because with a 9-game conference schedule, you're adding 9 more losses across your entire conference. So half the teams are going to have at least one more loss on their schedule this upcoming year, and that's going to put you in a situation to have more teams potentially at 9-3, maybe some teams at 8-4, and how the committee views that is going to be very interesting in what might be the last year of the 12-team college football playoff. But for South Carolina, going to a 9-game conference schedule makes, again, what's going to be a very vital year for Shane Beamer that much tougher, right? Now, where that line of success is, we don't know exactly, right? We were not inside the head of Jeremiah Donati and the people that make the decisions at South Carolina in terms of, okay, if he wins X amount of games, he's safe. If he loses X amount of games, he's gone. But at the very least, I feel like we're all pretty confident saying you got to at least make a bowl game, right? You got to at least get to that 6-win mark to feel somewhat comfortable. Now, again, I know Beamer went out there and set the expectations super high with all of his talk of, hey, this time a year from now, we're going to be talking about the playoff rankings, where we're at and making it in and all that kind of stuff, or where we stack up with all the other teams in the college football playoff rankings. So he did set that bar high for himself, but even if he doesn't get there, there's still a path, as a 8-4 team that's maybe unranked, where I think he'd still be safe coming back for 2027. But if you don't make a bowl game, that gets a little more of a tough conversation, right? And in years past, with the way the schedules line up, the way the schedule is formatted in the SEC, you had 8 conference games, you had your game with Clemson, and then because you'd fulfilled your Power 4 obligation, you didn't have to go out there and schedule a Ohio State or a Oklahoma State or a whoever else out in the Power 4 because you already had the built-in thing with Clemson. So that gave you the ability to line up 3 easier opponents, which we've seen them do in years past, but that's not the case anymore. So what you've had in years past is 3 potential layups. And again, we've seen Carolina football lose to layup teams and nearly lose to them in the past couple of years, like Old Dominion and Jacksonville State. Still won those games, but still, you had the potential to set up your schedule where you at least get halfway to bowl eligibility by playing some of those easier non-conference opponents from the Group of 5 schools or Group of 5 conferences from the SCS and all that kind of stuff. That's gone now. We look at the schedule for South Carolina, and there's only 2 potential layups in here, that being Kent State and Towson to start the season. Now, yes, as we look across the SEC, there are games that certainly look easier than others. I certainly feel like you look at saying, okay, playing Kentucky at Williams-Brice Stadium going to be easier than playing on the road at Bryant-Denny the week before. Playing Mississippi State is going to be easier than going to Oklahoma or playing Georgia or whatever it may be. Again, a lot's going to change with these teams, and maybe Mississippi State or whoever's going to be the next Indiana and be in the mix for the national championship. I don't know. But we assume Carolina's going to be able to handle their business against the first two teams they play in Kent State and Towson. Past that, who the heck knows, right? And that is the, I guess, worrisome thing. And again, Carolina's changed so much this offseason. We feel good about the changes they've made with Kendall Briles and the assistants and all that kind of stuff, talent they brought in for the portal, that they're going to set themselves up for success, but it's never a guarantee, right? You truly don't know till you get in there and start playing games. And again, everybody else is trying to improve themselves too. So the improvements Carolina made may not be as good as the improvements other teams have made. And then you find yourself once again in late November scratching and clawing to try and get yourself to bowl eligibility. And again, if that happens, then we start asking questions of, okay, does the Beamer era continue or not? I don't know. But going to the 9-game conference schedule, not only tough for the SEC in terms of, hey, how many teams can you get in the playoff now with those extra losses being counted in, but also South Carolina, as they're going to be dealing with an even tougher schedule, trying to get themselves to, at the very least, bowl eligibility. So with that and all this change to talk about in college football, a big conversation point in the past week has been the SEC championship game and its future. Greg Byrne, the athletic director at Alabama, said he thought it was on its way out. A lot of coaches have weighed in the past couple of days, including Coach Beamer, which we played the other day. But old Steve Spurrier on the another duly noted podcast was asked about the SEC championship game and its future earlier on this week. And here is what the ball coach had to say.
What's going to happen, we're still going to have an SEC champ without the game, and that's what we did for about 80 years, from 1933 to 1992.
Yep.
Well, that's only about 60 years or whatever. But, and everybody will be complaining about the schedule. Well, they don't play them, we play them, blah, blah, blah. And that's the way it used to be. Every now and then I used to say, as far as national championship, we play Tennessee and Alabama and Auburn and Georgia, and FSU doesn't play any of them. They were playing those teams up the East Coast up there. Yeah, Maryland and Wake and all that. So anyway, and only two teams would play for the national championship back in those days. So the SEC championship was something we had a chance to do. Didn't have to worry about anybody's schedule or this, that, and the other. Didn't have to worry about the voters,
Nope.
who the voters going to vote for, and go from that. So anyway, but yeah, I think they may do away with conference championship games.
Does it make you sad
Because all they
at
do,
all?
well, the coaches are, when they don't emphasize it, that's sad. But just play your, 8 conference games or 9. We're going to 9 next year. Play your 9 conference games, whoever's got the best record. And you know what? You may have a co-champ. You may have
Which you
3
do in
teams,
basketball
7 and
right
2.
now.
Yeah, we used to have co-champs. We were actually co-champs at Duke in '89.
Yeah.
But after you are a co-champ, you don't have to use that word co the rest of your life. Just use the word champ. And that's what we could go to. But SEC used to do that. In fact, I think in '89, the year before I got here, Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama were all 6-1 in conference play. So all 3 of them actually claimed the SEC championship, which was okay back in those days.
So as I've stated before, I'm in favor of this thing changing, and whether that be a play-in or something like that, I don't have a problem with the SEC doing something different with this conference championship weekend, because again, the game itself doesn't have the stakes that it used to, because typically both teams are going to get into the college football playoff anyway. Even predicted by 2027 this thing was going to look radically different. We'll see if the SEC ultimately ends up changing that. But in listening to Steve Spurrier talk about it there, one thing really stuck out to me that I hadn't really thought about in terms of a way to view this game, and one way it still remains very special. And again, it's not the only conference championship game. It is the first one, the original one, that all the other conferences ended up following suit with. But it is something simple, right? And Spurrier pointed it out there. You don't have to worry about reversing a committee or voters or polls or anything like that. The beauty of conference championships in a way is the simplicity of the sport itself, where, okay, if you want to play in the SEC championship game, back in the day, you just won the East or the West, no matter how good or bad that side of the conference was. If you beat all the other teams on your side, you got to go to Atlanta and play for the trophy in the conference championship. Past couple of years, now we expanded. It's been be the top 2 in the conference, and we haven't had any situations where there have been crazy tiebreakers or anything like that. But it's a very simple process of just finish based on head-to-head competition for the most part. You don't play everybody, but mostly on head-to-head competition. Finish at the top of the SEC and get the opportunity to go play for this conference title crown. And with everything else changing in college football, with the playoff, with NIL, the portal, and all this kind of stuff, I guess that is something that I would miss when it comes to the SEC championship game, is the simplicity of deciding a conference champion by the way you play yourself into that game. And again, as you mentioned, you'd still have a conference champion. You'd still have a trophy, much like they do with basketball and baseball when it comes to the regular season, of still recognizing somebody as your conference champion before playing your tournament. In this case, as we talk about the SEC championship game, but that is an angle of it that I didn't really think about that Spurrier brought up there, of like, it was simple. You didn't have to worry about these other things we worry about with college football. It's like, hey, win your side of the conference or, finish well enough in the standings to be 1 or 2, and you get yourself the opportunity to go to Atlanta and play for a conference championship. And in a way, that would still kind of exist with the play-in, because theoretically you're talking about being, the 4th and 5th teams in the conference, or 5th and 6th or whatever, and playing your way into the college football playoff. But we'll see if they end up making those changes. But it's a good point Spurrier brought up about it kind of representing the simplicity of the sport that unfortunately is getting less and less with how much changes across not only college football but college sports as a whole. Speaking of changes in college sports, by the way, are blue bloods officially dead in college basketball? One still active legendary coach gave his thoughts on that recently. We'll let you hear that coming up next. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Friday on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today by dialing pound 250 and use keyword QC Kinetics.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Springtime in Columbia. And if you hate to paint, do what Jean did. She called Rhino Shield.
So the house was built in 1952. We had Rhino Shield out about a year and a half ago to paint our house from gray to white.
Remember, Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
My husband had to talk to me a little bit about Rhino Shield. Is it something we want to do? But it was 25-year guarantee. I just didn't know how we could go wrong.
Columbia, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield now for 15% off the regular price.
We have 3 different exteriors to our property, and Rhino Shield painted them all. We were very pleased with the product and the job they did.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Join the Lexington Health Foundation for the McDaniels Golf Classic, returning Friday, April 24th at beautiful Fort Jackson Golf Club. Enjoy an all-inclusive day of golf with all meals provided, beer carts, hospitality tents, games, prizes, and more. Presented by McDaniels Auto Group. Proceeds benefit the McDaniels Pucci Cancer Fund to support patients and families at Lexington Health Cancer Center from diagnosis to survivorship. Golf teams and sponsorships are available at McDanielsGolfClassic.com.
Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. The spring is here. Dust, pollen, spring cleaning, all those important things. But have you even thought about the air quality inside your home? How are those air ducts holding up? Well, AAA Heating and Air is ready to help you. Visit them on the website. Call AAAtoday.com. Again, that's call AAAtoday.com. Call AAA Heating and Air and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Attention music fans, the 3rd annual Meeting Street Music Fest is happening April 17th and 18th in West Columbia. This award-winning 2-day festival features 11 incredible bands, including national headliner Sugar Ray, plus amazing food, drinks, and fun, and it's completely free. Join us Friday from 6 to 8 at the West Columbia Amphitheater and Saturday from 3 to 9 along Meeting Street. Make it a weekend getaway and experience one of the Southeast's fastest-growing music festivals. Learn more at meetingstreetmusicfest.com. That's meetingstreetmusicfest.com.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances, and Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Oh, yeah. The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Friday on the Game. Again, Gamecock Baseball back in action tonight, which is your next chance to win the Crescent Construction Grand Slam contest. Gamecock hitter goes yard with the bases loaded. You could win all the cash in the pot, which is up to $450 right now. Sponsored by our friends over at Crescent Construction. Go online at 1075thegame.com and register if you've not already for the Crescent Construction Grand Slam contest. Again, game number 2 versus Missouri tonight. Pregame coverage at 6:45 for a 7 o'clock first pitch. Earlier this week, we wrapped up the college basketball season, and amidst Michigan making their run to the national championship and winning the first one under Dusty May, first time he ever got to the final or to the national championship game after nearly getting there with Florida Atlantic a couple years ago, there was this cloud kind of over the entire Final Four in reference to the North Carolina job, right? And both Tommy Lloyd at Arizona and Dusty May were hot names at the top of that board in who North Carolina might go out there and poach after firing Hubert Davis. Well, Tommy Lloyd got a contract extension last Friday. Dusty May expressed that he was not going to be going anywhere and then proceeded to win the national championship, which reaffirmed that to just about everybody. And in the hours before the national championship game, we learned that North Carolina was going to be hiring Mike Malone, the former Denver Nuggets head coach that had won a championship with them a couple years ago. But it was a very odd hire and certainly didn't quite fit the mold of what we thought North Carolina was going to do, because they were in a situation where some of their top candidates were no longer on the board anymore. And quite frankly, it seems like the job maybe isn't as desirable as originally thought. And Rick Pitino, a legendary coach in his own right, a couple weeks ago, who of course is now coaching for St. John's, was asked his thoughts as all these kind of things were unfolding with UNC and some of the other blue bloods around college basketball. He doesn't believe that they have quite the same advantage anymore. Not quite saying that they're dead, but not thriving the way that they used to. And here is what Rick Pitino had to say.
I don't mean the Blue Bloods are dead. I mean that it's just they don't have the advantage they once had, because now everybody's on the same level playing field. And there's no difference between an NC State and a North Carolina. There is no difference between an Illinois and Michigan.
Is that based on what players want and care about? Or what you mean?
Yeah, you're no longer going to Kentucky because of the facilities or the great history. You're going there because you want to play for that coach, and obviously your contract is very good. It's free agency, and we all know the reasons why, and money has come into play. So what's the difference between the Knicks and the 76ers? Well, it depends on where you're from. So it's the same as pro ball. There's no difference.
And look, everybody has their opinions on Rick Pitino and the things that he's done throughout his career, but he's right in this regard, right? Like, it's not about the name of the school anymore. And look, North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, all these schools that we consider to be blue bloods, they still have an aura about them. And I guarantee you, for a lot of you, when you are filling out your brackets for the NCAA tournament every single year, you probably give the benefit of the doubt of those kind of schools, certainly at least in the early rounds of the tournament, because you're like, well, that's just what they do. They go into the tournaments, they win, they play for national championships and all that kind of stuff. But those expectations are so high at those places now. Quite frankly, I can understand why coaches, in addition to some other reasons, aren't looking at those jobs like, yes, I absolutely have to go there, because Rick Pitino is right. And back in the day, getting to go coach at Kentucky, getting to go coach in North Carolina, places like this meant you had the best of the best when it comes to facilities and all that kind of stuff. You were naturally going to get some of the top-level talent because of the school that you were, because you were an NBA pipeline, right? Guys knew, hey, if I'm a five-star guy and I go play for North Carolina as a freshman, I got a real good shot of being a one-and-done, being a lottery pick, and all those kind of things. And not that that's not the case anymore, but that's not the end-all, be-all when it comes to drawing guys to schools anymore. As Pitino laid out there, it's NIL, and it's also what that coach can do for you, right? If he can get you to the NBA, if he is a developer of talent at whatever prior school he was at or whatever it may be, there's other factors out there. History is more insignificant than ever. Look at Indiana, which is still, the state itself is viewed as one of the best basketball states. But when you think of premier basketball programs, you might still think of the Indiana Hoosiers. But without the adequate resources, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how many banners are hanging inside of Assembly Hall. If you don't have the NIL budget to keep up with the other teams in the Big Ten, then you're not going to go there. You're not going to go grab the top McDonald's All-Americans to come play for you. Like, that's just the game that we play now. And I'm not saying you have to like it, but it is the way that it is, right? And again, when you look at this past weekend with a guy like Dusty May, who again was asked a million times about the North Carolina job, why would he take that, right? You're at a place like Michigan that, yeah, they have a national championship in their history back in 1989 and have played for the national championship multiple times, but the standard and expectation there are far different, right? To where Dusty May, if he never wins another national championship, and let's say doesn't even make another Final Four over the next, 8 years, I still think he could still be the guy there at Michigan because of how revered he'd be for winning that national championship. Where if you go to North Carolina, as Hubert Davis himself learned, you can play for a national championship right out the jump, and people are like, okay, well, when are you going to win one? And then as you get a couple years down the road and you're not even able to get out of the second round of the NCAA tournament, people are like, yeah, this isn't working. We don't care if you played here and we're a long-time assistant. We need to do something else because the standard at those places is so ridiculously high. So if I'm coaching at Michigan or in Arizona and I feel like I've got competitive resources and this fan base isn't going to run me out of town for missing the Final Four one year, you know what I mean? Why would I leave? That seems like a much, much better gig, and that's just kind of the adaptation of what we've seen across not only college basketball, but college sports in general these days. Now, there are still, I think it's more maybe prevalent in college basketball because, again, we don't side the blue blood moniker to as many other schools across some of the other sports. Like, again, you have the Alabamas, the Ohio States, and things like that, Notre Dames in college football. But I don't think it's kind of quite the same conversation as you have there in college basketball. But even a school like Penn State, right? I think they learned the hard way that maybe they're not quite as desirable as they thought they were when they fired James Franklin. There was a litany of coaches that they seemed to be interested in that didn't end up taking the job. They tried to pry Kalani Sitake from BYU. Crumble Cookies got involved and kept him out there. And then they went with Matt Campbell, who's been fine, good, decent at Iowa State, but not exactly the wow hire that people thought they were going to make after they fired James Franklin. Because, again, coaches look at that and say, okay, that's a place where this guy was in the national semifinals the year before. He loses a couple games in a row, and boom, they fire him. Why would you go there and put yourself and subject yourself to those kind of high expectations when you can stay at another school with maybe similar type of resources when it comes to NIL and know they're not going to run you out of town for losing 2 games in a row? You know what I mean? So it's an interesting conversation. I think Rick Pitino is very right. I think it's kind of the shifting of things in college sports, particularly college basketball, in terms of these schools that used to be so revered on their name alone, not quite yielding that power to be able to go out there and get literally whoever they want, like they might have been able to do 10 or 12 years ago. And we see that perfect example with North Carolina kind of settling for Mike Malone. And again, if they really wanted Mike Malone, if he was number 1 on their list, they could have hired him the day they fired Hubert Davis. But instead, 2 weeks later, as they're looking around like, oh, crap, all these other guys we wanted aren't coming. The portal opens tomorrow. We need a coach. Go get Mike Malone, and which is what they did. And, again, we'll see how it works. I think we're all fascinated to see how this experiment that they're kind of doing in football as well with Bill Belichick, of bringing in a coach with no head coaching experience in college, just a resume from the professional ranks of your sport, ends up faring. So we'll see what happens. I got a question for you. Who are the biggest villains currently in respective professional sports? I've got some ideas in my own list, and I'll tell you what sparked this yesterday, but I need you to help me fill this list out on the Firehouse Subs text line at 803-404-6100. We're talking villains in sports coming up next on The Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you on your Friday on The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. Run the Cup, the Governor's Cup Road Race, sponsored by Lexington Health. Be part of history in downtown Columbia at one of the longest-running and most prestigious road races in the Southeast. The Half Marathon, 5K, and Main Street Mile are open for registration. Kids can run for free in the Kids Main Street Mile. And don't miss the post-race celebration with music, food, vendors, and a special awards ceremony. Join Lexington Health and register now for the Governor's Cup Road Race, April 10th and 11th. Learn more at runthecup.com. Vista Roofing, your local CertainTeed Select Shingle Master. Looking for a roof that's built to last? Trust the certified experts at Vista Roofing for professional installation, top-tier materials, and peace of mind backed by industry-leading warranties. From repairs to full replacements, Vista Roofing delivers durable results and exceptional service. Call now or visit VistaRoofingINC.com to schedule your free estimate. Vista Roofing, raising the standard one shingle at a time.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of GE appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Jeffers McGill offers the best customer service and lowest price on every GE make and model, including GE Profile, Monogram, and Cafe brands. Jeffers McGill and GE, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for AAA Heating and Air. You know, every homeowner's dream is a house that cleans itself, right? Well, we might not be able to do that, but what if you could clean your air without lifting a finger, even when you're sleeping? AAA Heating and Air offers indoor air quality products that do just that. These products work with your HVAC system to improve your home's air quality. Cleaning the air eliminates common household odors, removes allergens and pollutants, and can even improve sleep and reduce the spread of some viruses. And remember, at AAA Heating and Air, home comfort is their top priority. Call today to schedule a seasonal maintenance appointment. Let AAA Heating and Air's qualified technicians put your mind at ease with a thorough inspection and cleaning of your heating and cooling system. Join their popular AAA Comfort Club to take advantage of extras like flexible visits, added discounts, and priority scheduling. Let AAA Heating and Air take your comfort to the next level. Call 803-677-1500 and schedule today.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality.
Start your spring cleaning with Zerorez. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109 plus a free hallway. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just a deeper clean that lasts. Plus, now you can also take $100 off air duct cleaning and breathe cleaner air. Visit ZerorezColumbia.com.
Full Send Golf. You guys know how much I really, really love golf, and I think every week would be dope to post on the Golf Channel. I want to get a lot of guests on here.
Salim's going to take lead. I'm down to be in it. It's not really work to play golf.
Join the party on the golf course. I was like, let's go to the range. So what are we putting on it?
We said 10K, right?
10K?
All right. We probably bet more than all the other golf channels, right?
10K,
9 holes. Those guys bet for like cookies.
I feel like I'm going to shank it.
This guy's been training like a Navy SEAL when it comes to golf.
I'm very, very excited. You excited?
Yeah.
Full Send Golf. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
What team sprung a leak this weekend? Sponsored by American Leak Detection on the Extra Point.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Extra Points. I'll head along with you on your Friday here on The Game. It is time for Who Sprung a Leak, brought to you by your friends over at American Leak Detection. And we'll take a look at the very bottom of the Masters leaderboard as of right now. Davis Riley, currently sitting in 91st place. The 29-year-old American had a pretty rough first round where he shot, let's see here, a 82. He had 5 bogeys and 3 double bogeys on the day. That's usually not going to get it done. He's currently in the second round as of right now, and so far seems to be faring a little, or actually faring about the same. He's already got 4 bogeys and 1 double bogey so far, so I feel like he's probably not going to end up making the cut for what is only his second Masters appearance, and again, he's bringing up the rear as of right now. One person that I think a lot of people would actually much rather have in dead last place at the Masters is Patrick Reed. And Patrick Reed currently, as of right now, sitting tied for third at 3 under. He'll tee off today at 108 out there in Augusta. Of course, he's 2018 Masters champion himself. But if you're trying to figure out who the biggest villain in golf is, at least currently, it's probably going to be Patrick Reed. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Bill and I did, where you have, the drama of him, being him excommunicating his family, the way he carries himself, the cheating accusations. He got kicked off the Georgia golf team. He was seemingly darn near kicked off the golf team at Augusta State, even though they won a couple national championships. Like, the way he just carries himself really turns a lot of people off. And I think unequivocally he's probably the biggest villain in golf today, which there's a good element to that, because sports are better when you have somebody to root against. So you may not be the biggest golf fan in the world, but if you don't like Patrick Reed, like many people don't, and in fact I think he's Jay Phillips's #1 villain in the golf world, you can go into these tournaments saying, I don't know who's going to win, but I don't want that guy to win. And that's somebody you can root against throughout the entire weekend. And quite frankly, I feel like that makes sports more compelling at the end of the day when you have somebody that you don't want to win that you can root against no matter who they're going up against. And Patrick Reed is definitely that guy when it comes to golf. So this is where I want your help. Please weigh in on the Firehouse Subs text line at 803-404-6100. Who are the biggest villains across the other major sports? And this can be a player, this can be a coach. I don't really want to really involve teams here because I feel like it's a little too broad. Like, yeah, it's easy to say, well, the Yankees are the biggest villain in Major League Baseball. I'm looking for more specifics because being a villain in a lot of ways revolves around your personality, the type of person that you are. Now, yeah, there are some guys like the Tom Brady's of the world that, when he was playing, just winning stupid amounts of Super Bowls and putting up insane stats, that he was easy to hate because of how successful he was. But I don't really view Tom Brady's like a bad dude type of thing. I don't think most people do. Maybe a little bit quirky and weird a little bit, sure. But I don't dislike Tom Brady the person as opposed to some of these other people that are out there playing professional sports. So I just kind of skimmed down some of my thoughts. And again, let me know yours at 803-404-6100, starting with men's basketball. And again, we just crowned a national champion on Monday. Dan Hurley easily, right? And in college sports, because you have players cycling through usually in 3 to 4 years. I know some guys and girls hang around for 6+ years now with COVID years and all that kind of stuff. But typically, I think we kind of view the coaches a little bit more in the hero and villain type of role. And again, Nick Saban was a villain to a lot of people because of how successful he was. Now I think people have softened on him since he's retired, gone to the game day desk and all that kind of stuff. But Dan Hurley for men's college basketball, I think he's unquestionably the biggest villain in the sport because of his antics. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He's headbutting officials after they're punching their ticket to the Final Four the other week, and just the way he does those things. Now he's successful. Again, he's won 2 national championships, played for a 3rd the other night, so you can't deny that he's not a great coach, but his antics and the way he goes about things, I think, turns him off to a lot of people. Similarly, when we go over to women's college basketball, Gino, as we saw this past week, with what he did with Dawn Staley and all that, not that he wasn't a villain to a lot of people before, but I think that elevated him in a lot of people's villain rankings because he just carries himself like a sore loser at times because he doesn't lose a whole lot. And again, embarrassing yourself on a public stage like that will only lead more people to not liking you, which, again, there's already a lot of people that don't like Gino Auriemma anyway, and I think this just kind of further fan those flames. Of course, Kim Mulkey, very easy villain when it comes to women's college basketball, and her fieriness when she's not coaching your team, some of the things she says in media, the back and forth she has with players, those kind of things, very entertaining to say the least. Anytime Kim Mulkey's doing something, you're probably more inclined to watch because of the character that she is, but no doubt a villain in a lot of people's eyes. And I think you can also say that, not in the Columbia bubble, but with Dawn Staley, to people outside of here, people across the SEC, UConn fans, other fans around the women's college basketball world, they probably view Dawn Staley as a villain. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she wins so much, but her fieriness on the sidelines and stuff, that rubs people the wrong way too. I don't think she's in the same realm as Gino or Mulkey necessarily from a personality standpoint, but I think the fiery personality along with winning probably turns her off to a lot of people. So, again, outside the Columbia bubble, a lot of people might say she is a villain. Again, not going to say that here, obviously, but some people might share that thought across women's college basketball. As we transition into other sports, in the NFL, is it still Aaron Rodgers? I think it might be, right? And, again, nobody denies the fact that Aaron Rodgers is one of the most skilled and gifted quarterbacks we've ever seen. It is crazy to think that he's probably going to retire with only one Super Bowl trophy, more likely than not, but he's another person when it comes to that off the field stuff, in interviews, on McAfee, just this I'm above you type of personality that he seems to have, rightfully so, turns a lot of people off. Now, again, we'll see how much longer he keeps playing, but I'd still position him probably as my number one when it comes to villains in the NFL. Major League Baseball, how about Bryce Harper? He's a guy, and look, he was, propped up as the chosen one as he was coming up through the ranks. And look, he lived up to that. He's a phenomenal baseball player and has accomplished so much in his career. And he's one of those rare guys that as a kid is viewed as this prodigy that ends up becoming that once he got into his professional career. So all the respect in the world for what he does on the field. But again, those antics, the personality, the brashness, those kind of things. And look, I say this as an Atlanta Braves fan, watching him play for both the Nationals and the Phillies. So he's always been in the NL East in my time, or in his entire baseball career, in my time as a baseball fan, to where it's easier for me to dislike him. But I do think that's a name that probably carries across a lot of baseball in terms of like, okay, yeah, that guy's probably the villain to a lot of people there as well. How about college football? Is it Deion Sanders? I think it might be. And Deion, in and of itself, very brash. He was a villain to a lot of people when he was in the NFL for the way he carried himself, the cockiness and all that kind of stuff. And he did bring that to college football. Yes, you also had, the saga with him and his son there that certainly didn't help by any means. And I think a lot of people are certainly cheering the downfall when it comes to Deion Sanders in college football as things have started to slide this past year. And again, we'll see how much longer he has continuing to coach. But again, that same brashness and cockiness that he had when he was in the NFL, I think has, turned people off to him since he's been a college football coach as well, even though he has had some success. Not as much success as the Nick Sabans of the world, certainly. But again, that attitude and the way he carries himself and stuff does turn people off to him in a lot of ways. The NBA is an interesting one. I think to a lot of people, it's LeBron, right? Because of the legend that he is, how good that he is, that he's always in everybody's face when it comes to highlights and promotions and all that kind of stuff. Though he's the rare exception of somebody that doesn't like. Now, yeah, he's can be a little arrogant in some of the things that he says in the media, but I don't think he's like a bad person type of thing. But I do think a lot of people view him as the villain for being successful, being narcissistic, that kind of stuff. So he's probably still the number one villain in the NBA for however much long, and bringing his son onto the Lakers and all those kind of things. I think he's probably still the number one villain in the NBA until he ultimately retires, though there are other candidates around the league. But I think he probably takes the cake for a lot of people. So again, if you want to weigh in with some of your villains, 803-404-6100. I'll take some of those on the Firehouse Subs text line. As we wrap up the hour coming up next, we'll give our future headlines of the weekend, and Jack wants to weigh in with his as well. Let's hear that coming up next. It is the Extra Point. It's our head along with you on your Friday on the Game.
Sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We have a new way for you to call the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Just dial pound 250, and when prompted, punch in the keywords, the game. And that's it. Again, pound 250 with the keywords, the game.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
The Oklahoma City Thunder keep making history. Just clinched the 1 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. Home court advantage throughout the NBA playoffs. Only the 6th team in the history of the league to clinch the 1 seed in its conference playoffs 3 years in a row. SGA about to win another MVP. Probably going to win finals MVP. I think the Thunder are going to win the championship. This is a history-making team in Oklahoma City. I'm Nick Costos.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Get it in the app. Participation may vary.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Progressive knows that for business owners, vacations hit different. But hey, at least you finally took a vacation. And look at that. You only answered 53 calls, 84 emails, onboarded 1 new hire, and covered for Chris while he's out on paternity leave, and you did it all from a kayak. Because you, my friend, know how to relax. All right, you may not know how to take a day off, but you do know both your personal and business auto insurance needs can be covered in one place with Progressive. So at least that's relaxing, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Oh, yeah. The Extra Point with Tyler Head.
And the kick is good.
Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
Welcome back in, Extra Point. Tyler Head wrapping up hour number 2 here on your Friday on the Game, as it is a Masters Friday with round number 2 out there and rolling at Augusta National. Most of the guys right there at the top of the board still yet to tee off. Got Rory, who I believe is going to be going out in the last pairing, or one of the last pairings of the day at 1:44. He's tied with Sam Burns, who goes out at 12:32 today. Kitayama, Jason Day, and Patrick Reed also all there still yet to tee off. Wyndham Clark, who's tied with Scotty Scheffler for 6th overall, is through 10 so far today. Scotty Scheffler just getting rolling out there, also tied for 6th. And then Shane Lowry and Xander Schauffele, who are also tied with them for 6th, coming up in the next couple of hours here. So that's kind of going to be the primary focus of the sports world this upcoming weekend, is what is happening out there at Augusta National. So as we do each and every Friday, we give you our future headlines of the weekend. What are we going to be talking about? Myself and Jack Veltri coming back in here on Monday morning. And though Jack is not here this week, he's on a little bit of vacation down in Florida, well-deserved. Can't wait to get back in here and chat with him about things coming up on Monday. He did not want to miss out on giving his future headline of the weekend, and he sent me it yesterday. Here's Jack.
All right, what's up, Tyler? And hello to our wonderful listeners out there tuning in on this Friday morning. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. I know I have not been in studio or on radio all week, though I will be back on Monday from my vacation. But I did want to get involved and give my weekend headline, with it being Masters weekend here. And I wanted to chime in on the conversation. I hate that I have not been able to talk about everything that happened with the NCAA tournament, baseball, and now the Masters. So I'm just trying to do my part in getting to be a part of the discussion this week. I'm getting major FOMO, even though I'm really enjoying myself this week on my downtime. But speaking of headlines, let's look at the Masters. You know, I think there's a few different ways you could really go here. So here's my kind of prediction. I think we're going to either get a previous Masters champion winning it this year, or we get Justin Rose finally winning it. Now, if you look over the last few years, he's had some really close calls. You look at 2012, he finished top 10. 2015, he finished tied for 2nd. 2017, he finished in 2nd. And then obviously last year he went to the playoff with Rory and ended up losing, but he finished 2nd. So I think this is the year we either get Rose winning it or we end up getting a returning champion to win it. Just because you look at the current standings heading into Friday, you've got Rory tied for first. You've got Scotty Scheffler's playing really well. Even Jordan Spieth is playing pretty well. So I think you could either see a returning champion win, or more, hopefully we'll see Justin Rose finally get his shining moment. Now, the other part of this headline I will go with, I know I'm going to go off in a few different directions here, but hopefully something will come true. I think Bryson DeChambeau doesn't make the cut. He really had a rough day on Thursday. He's going to have to play really well here on Friday to make the cut, I think. And I don't think it's that difficult to make the cut, but I think in his position with how bad Thursday was for him, he shot triple bogey on hole 11. I mean, he just did not look like himself out there. I think he doesn't make the cut, and I think that's a big headline for the weekend. So I will see you on Monday, Tyler. Looking forward to talking all about the Masters and everything else going on. Until then, take care, guys.
So a lot of headline predictions there for Jack. Again, he'll come in here, and we'll see if those come true coming up on Monday. In reference to what he picked there, Justin Rose currently still tied for 10th right now at 1 under, as he is through 3 so far today, and he's 1 over currently through those 3 holes as of right now. And then scrolling down to Bryson DeChambeau, he is still below the cut line as of right now. He gets rolling at 120 today. As Jack mentioned, he triple bogeyed on 11 yesterday, which is obviously something that really kind of put him behind the 8 ball. And he is currently 1 stroke off the projected cuts. He's going to have to play a really good round today to be able to get himself back into the realm of continuing on throughout the weekend. For myself, I said this yesterday, but I'll say it again in terms of my future headline prediction, I'm going with Xander Schauffele winning the Masters this upcoming weekend. Sometimes the golf gods smile on you, and sometimes you see things happen that are very special. Yesterday, his tee shot on 8 quite literally hopped into somebody's merch bag. That is a 1 in a zillion type of shot, I'm sure, to have that kind of thing happen. I think that's a good sign for the weekend. He's gotten off to a pretty strong start so far, as he currently sits tied for 6th. He'll tee off also today at 120, and he is only 3 strokes off the lead, so I think he's in a good spot. He's in that top 10, as we talked about with Scott Hamilton earlier on today, of where you want to be coming out of the first round. Of course, he's top 10 in the world golf rankings as well, and he's done well at the Masters in years past and comes in a little bit of a hot streak with a couple of top 5 finishes at his last couple of tournaments. So I got Xander Schauffele winning the whole thing this upcoming weekend, but I really hope it's going to be a fun tournament and gives Jack and I some fun things to talk about come Monday, like that playoff between Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose was a year ago. That'll do it for the Extra Point. Coming up next, Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs on your Friday here on The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Hey, that was our exit. We're gonna miss the first pitch.
Just gotta make a stop at Kroger. I promised I'd bring nachos.
Nice. You have the Upside app too, right?
Upside? What's that?
Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy groceries. And they just added Kroger stores in Columbia.
Wait, I can get money back just for buying groceries?
Yep. And right now, you can get an extra $10 bonus on your first Kroger trip with the app. That's up to $25 cash back on one grocery run.
Even this Kroger store right here?
Yes. Now pull over. Let's get some cash back on those nachos.
Upside is now available for Kroger stores in the Columbia area. Download the free Upside app and use promo code FAM3 to get a $10 bonus on your first purchase at Kroger. That's promo code FAM3. Remember, use promo code FAM3.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Some things are meant to be together. Perfect pairs. The combos we all know and love. Like beaches and sand in your toes. A good book and the park. Or sleepy mornings and Mickey D's. It's undeniable. My personal favorite pair to help me start the day? The toasty $2.69 sausage McMuffin with egg paired with a $2 any size iced coffee. With 20 grams of protein in one sandwich and bold coffee to power my day, there's no doubt I'd call it the perfect McDonald's match. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com.
At Cato's Power Equipment, we pride ourselves on the relationships we build with you and with your lawnmower. Right now, you can own a Toro Time Cutter or Titan Zero Turn with payments as low as $100 a month and 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus plenty of great financing offers for all credit scores. Now through April, Cato's will include a free 5-year extended warranty package backed by our Master Service Repair Center, because the tools you need to maintain your turf should come with the support you deserve. Come shop at Cato's Power Equipment, family owned since 1984.
When your money's on the line, are you okay with a basic free tax service? Get the confidence of TurboTax with free Fed and state filing on Intuit Credit Karma. Around 37% of filers qualify. Simple 1040s only. See details at turbotax.com/free.
Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game for AAA Heating and Air. Look, I know you're thinking about a lot of spring cleaning right now, but are you thinking about your generators? You need to be. Those things are vitally important when our power goes out. You want to make sure your generator is running great. At AAA Heating and Air, they're ready to help you. So call today or visit their website. Call AAAtoday.com and tell them Bill Gunner with 107.5 The Game sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia.
Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Uh, 11 o'clock on your Friday morning. Welcome in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head and Wes Mitchell along with you, wrapping up the week. It's just been us two this whole week, but the next week we'll get Chris back. Hopefully he's enjoyed wherever his family went and hung out on vacation for the kids' spring break, and we'll get his thoughts on everything that's transpired this week. Maybe talk some Masters on Monday, depending on how things unfold over the weekend, and maybe, just maybe, Wes, we'll be able to actually talk about the baseball team winning a SEC series, because they did get off on the right foot last night, winning against Missouri 5-1.
Yeah, they did. And, man, I think you got to give a ton of credit, obviously, to Brandon Stone going out there. And a guy who, as we talked about yesterday, Tyler, has played just a multitude of roles at Carolina and has just stepped into all of them and gone out there and competed. And, you know, arrived in Columbia as a very, very highly recruited JUCO, highly rated JUCO guy. And, you know, I think it's taken a little bit of time just for him to get settled in. But man, as he's shown us when he is on, he's really developed into one of South Carolina's not just best, but probably most consistent, most versatile pitchers, and just gave you what you want from a Friday. We'll say it's technically Thursday, but the beginning of a series start on the road. And, Tyler, not an offensive explosion per se, but South Carolina put up some run support, got ahead early on. I think when you're on the road, it's always just important to try to set the stage early on, get a little bit of momentum. They were able to do that at the top of the order. Actually had a double to lead off the game and, kind of squandered that opportunity. But between, some key hits from South Carolina and some miscues from Missouri, they did what you wanted to do against a team that is right down there statistically and in the standings with South Carolina.
Yeah, that sixth inning, or top of the sixth inning, went about as bad as it could for Missouri because you're right, Carolina only got 5 hits in that game, but they took advantage of Missouri making mistakes in the field. LeCroy had the short pop-up that the pitcher and catcher couldn't seem to come to a communicative agreement with where they dropped it. And then the left fielder, I'm assuming, got lost in the lights. And I said earlier, look, as somebody that played a lot of outfield in my life, I've dropped some pretty stupidly obvious pop flies too, so I'm not going to crucify the guy for it. It happens, but tough spot there that allowed the run to score there to make it a 4-1 game.
Tyler, but I'm assuming you weren't making any NIL money back then.
I was not. No, I was not.
Your ability to catch fly balls.
I was not making it playing right field for Newton High School back in the day. I was doing that for free.
You're maybe to get some fudge rounds and a Capri Sun after the game or something.
If I was lucky, but no, I was not pulling down whatever their left fielder was pulling down in NIL to miss those kind of pop flies.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. Obviously, that stuff happens even at the MLB level. But this was like, I don't know, man. Kind of hey, South Carolina's on the other side of this thing right now, at least for one game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've seen South Carolina take some game ones and not be able to move that forward the rest of the way. But it does set up obviously pretty well for you if you're South Carolina right now. There's a reason why Missouri has the record that they do have. And, we talked about it yesterday, obviously a very, very winnable series. Like any team in the SEC, there is some talent on that Missouri team, but just not to the extent of most of the teams you're going to face. So I think the key now, and the thing you want to see if you're a Gamecock fan, is do not just completely wash away, if you're this team, what happened yesterday, and go ahead and get this series today, get this series dub, and don't feel like you've done anything by winning game one.
Yeah, and again, they're back in action tonight as they take on Missouri for game number 2. Pregame coverage is 6:45. 7 o'clock first pitch. Ant Phillips will be on the mound tonight for game number 2, and still TBA for tomorrow. Though, with the way things went last night, didn't have to really tax your bullpen too much. I would assume you're probably going to go Josh Gunther. Obviously, his last outing against Texas wasn't that great as far as the start when he did pitch the other night at the end of the game against the College of Charleston, but only threw 3 pitches, so still capable of going out there starting this weekend if you need him to. But as we've talked about, the way Monty handles this is, hey, depending on what happens in game number 1 and number 2, determines what we're going to do for game 3. So we'll see what they ultimately end up doing. But you win tonight, you at least win the series.
Yeah, and I think, that's obviously a very college-y way to do it, but we see a lot of teams do that. I think you're kind of just piecing everything together right now if you're South Carolina. But by way of going ahead and taking care of business in game 1 and not really having to super tax your bullpen, you've set yourself up pretty well to go win this thing. And, man, I don't know. It just felt to me like, okay, this is what it feels like to be on the other side of this for South Carolina this year. A year that has had just so many downs and so many little things go wrong. Was happy for those guys to get a little bit of help for once from the opponent. And, they took advantage and went out and won the game. So, so far, so good for the Gamecocks.
And on their path to get to 7 wins, for me, they're one step closer to that. So we'll enjoy that for what it is. Again, game number 2 coming up tonight against Missouri. We'll talk some Gamecock women's basketball coming up at 11:15 with our guy Chris Wellbaum of Gamecock Central. But we do have some official news when it comes to Gamecock men's basketball. This morning, they have officially filled one of those 2 vacant assistant roles with Bob Donwald Jr., who's been all around between the NBA and college basketball, spent the past couple of years with Chris Beard at Ole Miss, but now filling, again, one of those vacant spots that Carolina had coming out of this past year.
Yeah, South Carolina has made that official now, Tyler, and I thought it was interesting. You know, you're always going to get the quotes from the coaches, hey, we're excited, it's going to be a great addition, blah, 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 blah. But in the release from Lamont Paris, he specifically mentioned, and this is a quote, as the landscape of college basketball continues to evolve, I believe Bob's experiences in the NBA, as well as his tremendous connections in the international basketball world, will pay huge dividends for our program. Combine that with his college basketball pedigree and his familiarity with the SEC specifically, you have an extremely well-rounded coach who is ready to hit the ground running. So if you look at this resume, like it's pretty extensive, man. And now his last 3 stops have been Ole Miss, Texas, and Texas Tech, all with Chris Beard, who say what you want about Chris Beard, but for the most part, especially those runs at Texas and Texas Tech, has had a ton of success. Then you go back, you're talking about somebody who has been a head coach in the international ranks. You're talking about somebody who, according to his resume, also has worked with, at times, LeBron James, Jamal Mashburn. I don't know, Tyler, if you remember. So he was in Charlotte 2001, 2002. The Baron Davis days there with the Hornets.
I would have been too young for that. I was 5 in 2001.
Okay, not on your radar.
Yeah,
but
not on my radar.
As someone who grew up in York County,
yeah,
right across the border from Charlotte, the Baron Davis days, I was a fairly big Hornets fan back then. So that actually popped out to me personally, just because I was like, oh, I remember that. I remember that era in Charlotte. But someone who, here's the thing, man. The average casual fan, I would dare even say media person, unless you're maybe Elijah.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I know all about that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're just not. But, a lot of times you might know an assistant name because, I remember when that guy played. It's like they were a big name back when they played. But in terms of this hire, yeah, you can see the experience. You can see what direction they were going with it. Someone who's been in the SEC too, like it makes sense. A lot of this, as we know, is going to be about getting players and building a roster and all those things. Now, maybe there's some connections here too where he can get you in the door with a guy or two and bring him in as a transfer. But I'm not going to sit here and tell people, you should be overwhelmed. I'm not going to tell people you should be underwhelmed with the hire.
Sure.
It's an assistant hire, and he does have a great resume across multiple levels of the sport.
Yeah, it's not the same as, when football goes out there and hires Kendall Browse, the offensive coordinator, who's going to be solely responsible for fixing one area of the team that struggled so much last year. It's different when you talk about assistants, but given the fact that they went into the portal opening earlier on this week with 2 vacant holes on their coaching staff, it is good that they filled at least one of those and hopefully fill the other one here coming up soon as they try and navigate who they're going to bring in out of the portal. Corey Mincy going to be a part of the visitors this upcoming weekend out of George Mason. We talked about Samet Yigotolu yesterday and him being on the radar and potentially joining South Carolina. Of course, you guys will have all the updates on that throughout the weekend in terms of how the visits and all that kind of go. But again, having a rounded out coaching staff certainly helps when it comes to bringing in guys from the portal, and we'll see how this new addition helps them out.
Yeah, and so one more kind of on the court hire to be made there to fill. Also, they're expected at some point to kind of add some type of, I guess you would say, evaluation piece to this. I don't know what that title will be, but so potentially more hires to go here fairly soon. And as of last night, Corey Mincy visit still on. Gamecocks actually, Tyler, in phenomenal shape with Corey Mincy. So I think there's a lot of smoke that he could be the first portal guy to join the fold, assuming everything goes well there. And Ukitolu, a little bit more, I think, up in the air. South Carolina is battling right now with him. As of last check, as of yesterday, he is not on the books for a visit for this weekend. So that's something they're still working on getting done at some point. But definitely someone that is on the radar for Carolina and is a target for them.
Well, as we talk about all the time, if you can get these guys on campus, got a really good shot at them because this is speed dating, right? And sometimes, again, I think the hope for a lot of people is Mincy's here this weekend, and by Sunday or whatever, he's committed to Carolina. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's how fast these things can happen when it comes to the portal. So we'll see what happens there. And obviously, we kind of went over his resume a little bit the other day. He would be a good, strong first edition if you can land him this weekend.
Yeah, for sure, man. And they have targeted him from like moment one is the thing. I think the familiarity there with what he did to South Carolina at PC, I think that instantly kind of garnered the respect of the staff. And, I'd be pretty shocked at this point if he was not a pledge, by the end of the weekend.
Well, and now with Donwald coming in as the assistant, you look and say, okay, who's Ole Miss got jumping in the portal? What kind of connections can he make there? And maybe bringing somebody over if they would fit what Lamont Paris is obviously wanting to do. But again, that's kind of the wide open nature of the portal, and we'll obviously see what ends up happening. And hopefully we have some good news come Monday. The portal's open for women's basketball as well. Pretty notable name on the radar for South Carolina that they're trying to lock in on, as well as we need to review what happened this past weekend with our guy Chris Wellbaum, and we'll do that coming up next as the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs rolls along on your Friday here on The Game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Since that win at Clemson by the Gamecocks, things haven't gone well. And when things don't go well, it's time to look back on the days when things were well. Yeah, let's spin back to the good old days on the Game Network.
Line drive, right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Sellers in the pocket. Up in the pocket, gonna run inside the 20, 10. Lenore Sellers going left side, 5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown. Touchdown, Lenore Sellers. From 20 yards out, the Gamecocks take the lead in Death Valley.
Now that's some good feels right there. From 107.5 The Game and the Game Network. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Hey, that was our exit. We're going to miss the first pitch.
Just got to make a stop at Kroger. I promised I'd bring nachos.
Nice. You have the Upside app too, right?
Upside? What's that?
Upside is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy groceries. And they just added Kroger stores in Columbia.
Wait, I can get money back just for buying groceries?
Yep. And right now, you can get an extra $10 bonus on your first Kroger trip with the app. That's up to $25 cash back on one grocery run.
Even this Kroger store right here?
Yes. Now pull over. Let's get some cash back on those nachos.
Upside is now available for Kroger stores in the Columbia area. Download the free Upside app and use promo code FAM3 to get a $10 bonus on your first purchase at Kroger. That's promo code FAM3. Remember, use promo code FAM3.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Start your spring cleaning with Zerorez. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109 plus a free hallway. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just a deeper clean that lasts. Plus, now you can also take $100 off air duct cleaning and breathe cleaner air. Visit ZeroResColumbia.com.
Escape the ordinary and delve into a forest-inspired culinary adventure at The Hollow, right in Columbia's Vista District. The Hollow's Forest-to-Table restaurant serves up rustic American delights, from bison and boar to duck and rainbow trout. Come for the food, stay for the atmosphere. The Hollow's unique 30-foot tree canopy bar and open kitchen views set the stage for an unforgettable experience. Don't skip their half-off happy hour from Tuesday to Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy 50% off on signature botanical cocktails, beer, wine, and appetizers. Whether you're unwinding after work or planning a special gathering, The Hollow has you covered. Located at 823 Gervais Street in Columbia, reserve your spot by calling 803-722-4101 or visit them at thehollowsc.com. They're excited to welcome you. The Hollow is our sweet deal of the week. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m., you can get a $50 gift certificate to The Hollow for just $25. Get yours at 1075thegame.com.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia.
Columbia business leaders, ready to grow in 2026? Join us for your business, your customers, your growth. The 2026 Digital Seminar, April 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, 1200 Pickens Street. Choose the session that fits your schedule, 11:30 with lunch or 2:30 with light refreshments. Attend and get $1,500 in advertising credit to boost your brand on our Columbia Cumulus stations. And when you confirm your reservation, you'll also receive a custom audio or video from Podcast Studio 803. Seats are limited. Dial pound 250 keyword Digital Impact to RSVP today.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Ed and Wes Mitchell along with you on your Friday, wrapping up the week here on the game. Beginning of the week, of course, we reacted to everything that happened out in Phoenix for the women's Final Four, where, of course, South Carolina did come up short to UCLA in the championship game. We bring back on our guy Chris Wellbaum of Gamecock Central on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Chris, appreciate the time as always. Boy, a lot has transpired since the last time we talked to you last Friday. How do you sum up the weekend that was from what you've seen throughout your entire career covering women's college basketball from this past weekend?
I have no idea. It was a wild weekend. I have never seen anything like what happened, not just at the end of the game against UConn with the handshake line, but then Gino just repeatedly doubling down on what was lies, and he kept getting called out for lying, and he would then double down on lying about the lying, and it was just bizarre, unbelievable. And then the games themselves, I don't think anybody saw any of the three games in Phoenix playing out the way they did, from South Carolina really just out muscling and physically UConn and with a small lineup, and then the rock fight that was the UCLA Texas game, and then UCLA just dominating South Carolina. I did not see that coming either. So it was a wild weekend.
Yeah, well, let's before we get into some portal stuff, let's kind of close the book on this season on the court. How do you kind of square up like the way it ended with that final game versus the fact that this team still went, a good bit further, especially when you factor in the injuries and everything? I can't call this season anything but a success, but I do know you have certain people out there who are like championship or bust when it comes to Carolina women's basketball. So I know it's a little bit of a surprise ending there on Sunday, but I still got to imagine this is one of Dawn Staley's best coaching jobs ever.
Absolutely. They missed 81 player games due to injury, illness, suspension, and acclimation. That's 2 full seasons. They only had their entire roster, and I'm not even counting Chloe Kitts when I say entire roster. They only had their entire roster 9 times out of 40 games. So just to be able to get through all of that with a constantly changing lineup and not knowing who's going to be there game to game was really impressive. And I think they probably did max out the talent that they had. I mean, Dawn likes to say that kind of jokingly that injured players are dead to us, but let's not forget that Chloe Kitts was an All-American last year. To lose an All-American, your only All-American, returning All-American, and still make the national championship game is pretty impressive.
And Chris Wellbaum joining us on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, recapping the women's college basketball season for South Carolina. Again, we'll get to what's going on with the portal coming up here in a minute. But with the weekend out there at the Final Four came the end of Raven Johnson's college career, and obviously one of the more decorated players that Dawn Staley has ever had. Dawn Staley said, obviously one of her favorites that she's ever had as well. Being there, covering it all over the years, how do you, sum up the time that Raven Johnson had here, what she was as a player, and what she meant to this program?
Yeah, not only was she a Gamecock for 5 years, including her redshirt freshman year, but she was basically the primary point guard for all 4 years that she played. She didn't start as a redshirt freshman, but she finished the game. So it's like when Ty Harris finally graduated, you're like, I don't even remember what it's like for her to not be on the team, because she's been on the team, running the team for so long. It's a huge gap on the court, and it's a huge gap in the locker room, because Raven has such a big personality. She's always smiling, always laughing, and she's not afraid to talk to her teammates, whether it's just making jokes, making TikToks, or whether it's breaking down the game and what they need to do to win. It's a huge void, and it's really disappointing that they couldn't send her out with another championship.
Welly, let's talk some portal. I know everybody turns the page pretty quickly to, hey, what's next? What's the roster going to look like? And South Carolina heavily involved already with Kimora Johnson, the Virginia guard, visiting this weekend. Is it too early to say the Gamecocks are the favorite here? It certainly seems, just from the tea leaves, like that could be the case, but what are you specifically hearing there about their chances?
Yeah, the smoke around this potential union started before she even entered the portal. We were talking in Phoenix, just gossiping about the portal, and everybody was saying then it seemed like she's going to end up at South Carolina next year. So getting her on campus right away is a big step in that direction. I don't know if she's planning to commit, or if she wants to take other visits, or if there's some talk that she might go back to Virginia, because she is from Charlottesville. So it's literally her hometown school. But there's a lot of smoke there. It does seem like South Carolina's the favorite, and I'd be surprised if that. I think it's down to South Carolina and going back to Virginia at this point.
Recently, Jamie Shaw on 3 put out, based on his intel, kind of the price for these players out of the portal when it comes to men's basketball. And, one of the things that really stuck out was high-end centers can command as much as $3 million, because those are a little bit harder to find on the men's side of things. Do you have any range on what some of these high-level players on the women's side of things are going to be going for this offseason with the portal?
Not really. They do a really impressive job of keeping that information under wraps. But the very high-end players go for about $1 million. And I think a lot more players think they're worth $1 million than are actually going to get $1 million, if that makes sense. But that's kind of the range for an All-American type player, and then it goes down a lot. There's more money for women's basketball players, I think, in outside NIL deals. Women's basketball players are very marketable, so we're seeing a lot of college players already getting shoe deals. Malaysia Fulwiley had a deal. Jersey Robinson, incoming freshman, has a Nike deal. If you watched the tournament, you saw Lauren Betts and all kinds of commercials. That's where they're really making the money. The top players is the outside NIL, not directly from the school.
Well, and I think they're probably, in terms of true NIL, like what it was designed in theory to be, the women's basketball stars are probably doing better than about anybody, and those businesses are probably getting actual return on investment with that as well. So they're probably, in terms of true NIL, the system is working maybe the way it was designed there. And if it's anything like football, well, you also probably have a lot of agents telling a lot of people they're worth $1 million, or I can get you $1 million, and which leads to a lot of transferring around that maybe wouldn't have otherwise been necessary. Anything else portal-wise in terms of names or number of targets you would think South Carolina would be after moving forward, other than her?
I've heard South Carolina connected with Jordan Lee, the Texas guard. South Carolina really recruited her hard out of high school, so there's a connection there. Some of Jordan Lee's best games came against South Carolina, so it's always nice to get somebody that plays well against you. But after a point guard, they really don't need another player. If they get a point guard, that puts them at 13 players for next year, and that's about the max that Staley likes to carry. Because you have to remember, all indications at this point are that Ashlyn Watkins is coming back in May. So they're essentially adding a transfer player with her coming back. So everybody's saying we need to replace Medina Okada or find another big. They have that in the pipeline with Ashlyn coming back. So right now it's just Johnson and Lee are the only two that I've heard a lot regarding South Carolina, and I'm not 100% convinced they're going after Lee, but I have heard her name come up several times.
Well, Lee, we appreciate it as always. Good coverage this season, and I'm sure we'll be popping in with you each and throughout the off seasons as well as we build up to next fall. Thanks as always, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
Chris Wellbaum there of Gamecock Central, doing great coverage for them when it comes to women's basketball, and he'll keep you updated on everything going on there with the transfer portal. We'll come back. We'll hit a buy or sell coming up next. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We have a new way for you to call the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Just dial pound 250, and when prompted, punch in the keywords, the game. And that's it. Again, pound 250 with the keywords, the game.
All right, guys, allow me to tell you about our friends over at Integrated Media, like we do each and every day. If you want more information, integratedmediainc.com or 803-948-8327. Again, 803-948-8327. And like I always tell you, man, if you want to upgrade your home viewing, your sports viewing experience at your home, our guys at Integrated Media can help you do that. That can be as simple hanging the TV, hiding the wires, surround sound, or let's go all in on that home theater system or that man cave that you've been thinking about, that you've been dreaming about for years. The beauty of it is you can go to them and say, this is kind of what I've been thinking, what I need to do to make this a reality, and they're going to do that for you pretty simply and just make it happen. They've been to my house. They've been to Chris's house. Let them come to your house as well. If you need more information, though, integratedmediainc.com, or go ahead, call them, have them come out, set it up today, 803-948-8327.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. You know, too often guys will not go to the doctor when they're feeling off, whether it's because they think they can tough it out or because they don't want to talk about it. Don't be that guy. Get to feeling better after you see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. They are experts in healthcare for men, and they're dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. Call them up for a free consultation, 803-875-MENS, and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com.
Yo, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire Automotive.
Dad, why do the other tire places in town not like us?
They are just jelly about our lit prices.
Like the top 17-inch size for your Mommobile, $500 for a set of 4 out the door.
Or the top 20-inch truck size for $720 total, no cap.
You can even buy tires online at PopeDavisTire.com.
Why is my line just 6'7"?
6'7".
I don't get it.
PopeDavisTire.com.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
This week's Sweet Deal of the Week is the Hollow. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m., you can get a $50 gift certificate to the Hollow for just $25. Get yours at 1075thegame.com.
Spring cleaning starts with Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Mention 1075 The Game and get 3 rooms cleaned for $109, plus a free hallway. No one cleans like Zerorez. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just carpets that stay cleaner longer. Take $100 off air duct cleaning for a limited time. Air ducts circulate the air you breathe, and dust can end up right back on your floors. April appointments are filling up very fast, so don't wait. Visit ZerorezColumbia.com to book today.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 1075 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head and Wes Mitchell along with you here on your Friday on the Game. It is Friday. It is 11:30. You know what that means. That means it's time to buy or sell. Buy or sell number 1, Wes. We're going to start off with Gamecock softball. Of course, we talked to Ashley Chastain-Woodard yesterday as they get set for another tough series this weekend against number 6 Florida over there at Beckham Field. She sang the praises of Jory Hurd, who's one of the best in all of women's softball or all of college softball right now when it comes to overall ERA. She's not given up more than 2 runs in a single outing since the second game she pitched in against Virginia Tech early on this year. Buy or sell, she can keep the streak going of 2 or less earned runs in her outings this weekend against Florida.
Yeah, I think she currently is 10th in the country in ERA as well. So, awesome season for Jory so far. She's taken a huge step forward. And I actually think the Gamecocks are going to take 2 of 3 from Florida this weekend. I think they're going to break through. This is at home. They've been so close in so many of these games. I think they're breaking through. And if they're going to do so, man, they're going to need Jory to really throw well. So, yeah, I'll buy that.
I'll buy it too. Florida is second in the SEC when it comes to runs scored, but again, Jory's gone up against a lot of good offenses this year and been able to hold her own. Like you said, if they're going to win this weekend, they're going to need her to be at her best for however many innings she's going to be out there on the mound, which will probably be quite a few considering how well that she is pitching. Buy or sell number 2, we talked some men's basketball transfer portal early on in the hour. This is really kind of a Corey Mincy question, since we know he's the only one that's going to be on campus this upcoming weekend. Buy or sell men's basketball. Only confirmed one right now. Buy or sell men's basketball. We'll have a commit out of the portal by showtime on Monday, so 11 a.m.
Okay, I will incredibly confidently buy this one. How about that?
Okay, hopefully so. And again, like you said, when you get these guys on campus, you're off to a pretty good start. Again, it's speed dating pretty fast. Again, this is one of those guys you mentioned earlier that Carolina was involved in right off the jump when he went into the portal, and hopefully that spells good signs for this weekend. And we have a commit to talk about by the time Monday does roll around, so I will buy that as well. Of course, a lot of things going on this weekend, including...
I've never had a more confident buy. How about that?
Okay, well, there's maybe an indication. Much like when you guys show up at the commitment press conferences for high school recruits, we always view that as a good sign. Like, all right, we feel pretty good that this one's going to happen if GC's on location there.
Yeah, we'll put it like that. GC is currently on location.
Okay, GC is at the hat ceremony waiting for Corey Mincy to pick a hat that we feel strongly will be a SC or Gamecock-related hat of some sort.
Yes.
So we'll both buy on that one. Buy or sell number 3, of course, the Masters going on this weekend. Second round underway right now. 2 of the favorites include, of course, Rory McIlroy, who won a season ago, currently tied for first after one round yesterday, and Scottie Scheffler, the, of course, best golfer in the world as of right now, tied for 12th as he is through 4 holes in round number 2. You can either buy Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy or sell for the field in terms of who's going to win the Masters this upcoming weekend. Which way you going?
Oh, man. I'm not a big golf guy. I've just maybe because I've seen the vignettes from last year, I've just had a feeling that Rory might do it again.
Okay.
Seems like that's maybe against the odds, right? But you know what, man? I'll buy that. I'll buy it. I think it's going to be Rory, so I'll buy it.
Do you know the last time somebody went back to back?
No, I do not.
Tiger in 2001 and 2002. It's only happened 3 other times, so it's very rare. So, but hey, Rory's off to a great start, so we'll see what happens. Going off of my pick from the last hour, I went Xander Schauffele, who currently, let me check the standings here, he is still tied for 6th, so I'm going to have to go against and go with the field, so I'll sell on that, but I do expect Rory and Scotty to be in the mix all weekend long. Sticking with the Masters, trivia question for you. Do you know how many hole-in-ones have been hit at the Masters since 2010?
I have no idea. 0.
You don't think any have been?
No, I have zero idea.
Zero idea? If you had to guess a number, what do you think it is?
Since when? 2010?
2010.
Oh, God. 5?
15, actually.
Okay.
Mainly on 16. Corey Connors hit one on 6 back in 2021, but it's primarily 16 in the history of the Masters that typically produces the hole-in-one. To my knowledge, through one round in the first couple of groups going out this morning, we've not had one as of yet. Buy or sell, we get at least one hole-in-one this weekend at the Masters. Because that's basically one a year, essentially, on average.
Yeah. Let me just be a negative Nancy. Let me sell this one.
All right.
I'm buying all of them, so I'll sell this.
Just for the sake of fun, I'll buy it. It'd be a fun thing to talk about coming here on Monday. And again, it would likely be on 16 because that's typically where those things do happen. Of course, spring practice coming to an end. We don't have a spring game to buy or sell for tomorrow. We do have Garden and Blackfest, though, which is going to be highlighted, of course, by the Darius Rucker, Lauren Atlanta concert coming up tomorrow night. Buy or sell, Coach Beamer appears on stage with Darius Rucker tomorrow.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to maybe do a buy or sell on number of Hootie songs from Darius. You said you're going, right, Tyler?
I'm going. I'm looking forward to this. Now, you said he does mix in the Hootie stuff, right?
I was trying to think. I'm about 90% sure, yes. You will hear, like, I think Hold My Hand. Like the
well, he's got to play. He's got to play Hold Your Hand. Like, there's no question about that.
Yeah, the Hootie classics. Then you'll get some of his own songs. Then you'll get probably some Wagon Wheel, maybe. Yeah. I mean, Beamer's got to go out there, I feel like.
You would think.
I'm not quite as confident on this buy as I was on the men's basketball gets a commitment this weekend, but I feel pretty he went on stage and sang at Township when it was Patrick Davis and Darius Rucker. So
should I adjust this to is Beamer going to sing something? Would that be a more fun one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
right,
I feel like that's a little more of a 50-50. I'm still going to buy it.
Okay.
And here's a side bet for you.
All right.
Buy or sell that Sean Elliott will find his way on stage as well.
Okay, because he sang too last time, right?
Oh yeah, he was into it.
All right.
And I'm gonna throw that one out there, and I'm gonna just buy it because Sean Elliott will find a way onto that stage with Darius Rucker if the coaches are like if Beamer if there's an opportunity for Beamer to go up there. I feel like some other coaches will probably pop in as well.
I'll buy that too. Hopefully it's a lot of fun. Yes, I would love to see Sean Elliott and whatever he sounds like singing with that intensity that he brings to the football field up there on stage if that opportunity presents itself.
I hope we get a Patrick Davis sighting as well.
I hope so too. He would. I mean, if he's not doing anything else, if not doing another concert or something else somewhere else, then you would think there's a strong possibility of it. But that's that'll be a surprise if it does happen, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll buy that, and we'll review this coming up on Monday. We'll come back, wrap up the hour and the week. I gave Wes a homework assignment last night. Did he do it? We'll discuss that coming up next. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
North Carolina basketball introduced former Nuggets head coach Michael Malone as its next head coach and signed Malone to a 6-year, $50 million contract. And that financial commitment to Malone shows me that North Carolina is going to spend and spend big on its roster. And if that's the case, if Carolina spends the way that Duke spends, I think Carolina can and will win big with Michael Malone. I'm Nick Costos.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I need a little ranch, step to the ranch, come on, meet me at the
Introducing the new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club Sandwich. With that juicy Chick-fil-A chicken on a buttermilk ranch bun, jalapeno ranch sauce, and pickled jalapenos, it's a little ranch with a lot of kick. The new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club with original spicy or grilled filet. Available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-649-6464. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464. This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-649-6464. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head and Wes Mitchell wrapping up the week here on your Friday on the Game. Yesterday, we talked a lot about quarterbacks in the SEC, and we got on the discussion of Vanderbilt, who at this point in time is projected to start true freshman 5-star Jared Curtis. Again, that experiment can go either way. Again, 5-stars don't always end up panning out, or he's a superstar. We don't know, but Clark Lee, as we said yesterday, was playing with kind of house money this year, given the success of the past couple of years, especially winning 10 games a season ago, and it led us down the path of what coaches have the coldest seats in college football. And I gave Wes the homework assignment of coming up with his top 5, and I know you can't see him, but the look on his face when I said, did he do his homework, probably shot him back to high school or something like that, because I clearly awoke a memory that you haven't had in a while.
Tyler, I was sitting in Mr. Good's calculus class back my junior year. Just brought flooding memories for me when he said, turn in your math homework, and I just didn't have it.
Well, I'm not going to dock your grade for this one, though next time it is going to be a phone call home, so just be aware of that.
That's fair.
I'm gonna call your wife and tell her that you're not turning in your homework, and she'll discipline you accordingly.
Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna get my homework done next time. Did you do a 5?
I did, and here's the thing: this was harder than I thought it was going to be, right? Because, and we kind of talked about this yesterday, the top 3, and you can vary the order however you feel, like Cignetti, Kirby Smart, and Clark Lee. And I position it this way: for one, this doesn't include first-year coaches, because in your first year, I'm going to give you a pass. Rarely you're going to get fired for having a bad first year. But coaches that have been at a place for more than 1 year, if they went 0-12 this year, they would definitely not be fired. Cignetti, Smart, and Clark Lee unequivocally are 3 of those guys that I think fit that category. Finding 4 and 5, though, is really, really hard, because you look at all these other places in college football, be like, I can't say definitively if that guy didn't win a single game this year that they wouldn't fire him.
Yeah, if you don't win a single game, I mean, I think there's some coaches that would probably, even if they were on your list, would probably just quit if they went. Like, if Kirby Smart lost every game, I legitimately feel like he'd be like...
He would be so ashamed of that. He might just call it a career.
He'd just leave. Yeah. How about Dan Lanning?
I thought about Dan Lanning, but at the same time, Oregon's got so much money that if he went 0-12, they could just be like, yeah, never mind, we'll get somebody else. Like, I couldn't say that with full confidence, though that's kind of what I'm getting to with all these people is like, I can find a but with just about everybody else.
How about Marcus Freeman?
Ooh, it's a good one. Again, Notre Dame also a lot of resources. If they, saw a bad season like that, they could kick him out the door pretty quickly. They do seem to like him a lot, and compared to Brian Kelly, who he took over after, he's a breath of fresh air. So maybe he might get that grace too. That might be a good one.
Could he be your number 4? Is what I'm asking.
I think he could. Yeah, I don't think it's as strong as 1 through 3, but I think he's definitely up there in the mix. Another name I came up with was Kalani Sitake at BYU. Now, again, he nearly left and went to Penn State till they got all that crumble cookie money to convince him to stay around. But, he's done a good job. He's got them close to the playoff like he did this past year. Not quite gotten there yet, but and of course, he's involved in the LDS church and all that kind of stuff. So he is one of them out there, and they very much embrace him out there. So I feel like even a bad season like that wouldn't have hit them running him out of town.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at a list of teams right now because the number of teams that have new coaches, is insane. And then there's some schools right now, Tyler, that I feel like, to your point about the resources, like you would think Texas Tech. Like, they did like more than they've ever done, more than they've done a long, long, long time this past year. You would think their coaching staff would be absolutely safe. But they've put so much into it, if they didn't win next year, it would be, look, man, we gave you everything you possibly – if they went 0-12, there would be a change.
Sure.
So I think those 3 we just mentioned are probably 4, 5, 6. In some order.
I brought this up to Terry, and he threw out there Brett Bielema at Illinois, considering the fact that they're a school that just hasn't had a ton of success historically, and he has, including beating Carolina a couple years ago, gotten them to the 10-win mark and being ranked and all that kind of stuff. I feel like he might be in that mix too, just because, again, they don't have the historical precedent to compare it to. Again, not as competent as the top 3, but he might be in that mix too.
Yeah, I thought of him. He would be in the conversation, I think, for top 10. Would Brent Key at Georgia Tech be in the conversation for top 10, 15-ish?
That's a good one, too. Played there, homegrown guy. Obviously done a lot of good things in the first couple of years there since taking over. That he'd be in the mix. I think so.
The funny thing is, dude, you would assume, and just imagine 3 years ago, Dabo would have been easily in the top 5, if not the top 3 candidate for this.
Yeah.
But now the number of people that, including Tyler from Spartanburg, that have gone after Dabo and are kind of like, well, has it passed him by? He's stubborn. Yeah. This whole thing of hiring friends and family and former players, where would Dabo be on this list? Like, he wouldn't be top 5. Yeah. Maybe not top 10 or 15.
If Dabo's playing in the Pinstripe Bowl again this year, that might be enough to say, all right, this is done. You know what I mean? That's kind of where it seems like the fan base has gotten with him.
Which is insanity.
It is insanity.
If you really think about
considering what he's accomplished, but that's the nature of college sports as it is. All right, man, enjoy the weekend. We'll recap everything on Monday.
Enjoyed it, Tyler. Have a good one, man.
Halftime show up next on your Friday here on The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate